You are listening to Saturday Mornings with Trusler and Mac. I am Mac, and with me on this very special edition of Saturday Mornings with Trusler and Mac, it is Trusler. How you going, man?
Ooh, I'm going all right, and I've been honestly, it feels like I've been running in circles and getting nowhere. But I haven't like that's how I feel. But I know I've been getting things done. So, Sheesh. So how about yourself?
I'm good. Busy glued to the computer screen more than usual this week, of course. Of course, it happens to do with the topic. Well, not really topic. This is going to be probably the ultimate, or one of the very few ultimate news versions of Saturday Mornings, because it was E3 week, ladies and gentlemen. E3, the biggest, one of the biggest gaming expos in the world. And I say one of them because I'm one of those people that's really like dedicated to Tokyo Game Show. So I kind of see that as equals, even though a lot of people see it as like a lesser thing. Not for me. I see them both the same sort of hype levels. So, but there's a lot of really good announcements at E3, and I like how the companies go all out and try and surprise everyone. And someone certainly surprised a lot of people this E3.
There's some surprises all around. It seemed like, but I don't know. Before we start this up, and I mentioned it to you right before we recorded, as well as before the uncut version of the recording, but I did not really get to spend much time paying attention to E3. So some of this is going to be like fresh off the news cycle to me. I don't carry a smartphone, which there's still 8 of us around, but I don't carry a smartphone, so I don't really keep up to date constantly with that sort of thing. And when I'm on the computer, I'm not always trying to find different news things to, it's also something I use for working. So it's, that's really all I could say. I got more of the feedback of people, like, for lack of a better word, whining about certain other things, which we'll get into. So, yeah,
I'll be one of them very soon. But no, I don't want to make it sound like I was ungrateful though. I actually really enjoyed this E3. It could have been the best. I will probably settle for it was one of the best in years. So, I actually want to kickstart things off with like the actual Sunday of the event, and where kind of Nintendo sort of drew the first blood, so to speak, with kind of acknowledging a fan base that they have been kind of not for a very long time. They released officially the very first Mother game for Virtual Console, which is like, that's a big surprise. Now, we're not going to fawn over it because Taylor and I are not actually big Mother fans, to be honest. I've actually grown to not really hate the series. There's nothing for it to make me really like stand out and make me want to buy it right now. But actually, I've played a little bit of Mother 1, and it's an okay game. It's not the be-all to end-all RPGs, but I do know how fanatical the Mother/Earthbound fan base is, and they were very happy that now they have 2 of the 3 games officially available to them. And for me, I was excited not because of this game. It's that this now opens up a lot of possibilities, because we believed that Nintendo wasn't ever interested in re-releasing old games that never got released back in the day. But with this, the possibilities are endless. And like, I could give them a letter, 2 Fire Emblem games. Like, there's a lot more Fire Emblem games they could bring out, but I'm looking at this realistically. There's 2 they could definitely bring out, because they have the Game Boy Advance Virtual Console there, and they just released the Nintendo DS Virtual Console, and there's a Fire Emblem, the Binding Blade, which actually is the official title now, the Binding Blade, because I actually played Smash Brothers, and that's the actual official title, which I'll tell you how I found that out in a second. But there's also Mystery of the Emblem as well for DS, which they could put in there because it's already been fan translated, so that is awesome. The other big news, and I was certainly a happy chappy, is we've already talked about this was leaked and it was official. Lucas, Roy, and Ryu became available for Smash. The thing that was a big surprise, though, it was available directly after the stream, and Taylor, the eShop crashed. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get in there. I was just like, fuck. Because when I saw Roy and his new design, I was like, money now. Money now. And thankfully, I just had enough to get him. Like the next day, and I played as him. And I did, one of my favorite posts on Facebook ever made was, I quoted, I just had a 5-man smash battle with Roy, Marth, Ike, Lucina, and Robin in the Castle Siege stage while the Fire Emblem theme played in the background. This has to be one of the greatest gaming moments I've had in 2015. It was glorious. It was so much fun. And he's excellent. Like, he's really fast. I would say he's faster than... I would have to play Lucina and Marth more, but I would be surprised if he's the fastest of all the 5 characters.
That would be a surprise. A, because he's a slow character in Fire Emblem, and B, he was a little. I don't remember him being quite as fast in Melee.
Yeah. They say that he has extra power if you hit people with the hilt of the sealed sword. So that's interesting.
Is it the hilt? It was the middle of the blade. Was the in Melee?
They might have changed that a little bit because I'll have to play as him just a little more to find out. But I had a lot of fun playing with him. He's really good. I've actually played Melee, and I dare say he does feel a lot better in the Wii U version. So that's pretty epic. And I jinxed myself, good sir. I said how awesome it was to have all the Fire Emblem amiibos. Come a couple of months, I won't, because they're going to be releasing a Roy amiibo. And it's probably going to be ridiculously rare. And I need a figure to represent the Elder Saga. So I'm like, they're helping me. They're helping me with my shrine, man. And I'm dearly grateful for it. So really looking forward to that. I do like this Fire Emblem Love, which we'll get into much later on. I like how I allude to so much. Maybe I should stop doing and just surprise everyone, as the big companies did this E3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I very quickly, I'll go on Bethesda because I actually didn't watch that much of it. And quite frankly, half of it was actually really boring. They showed off Doom. That looked okay.
That was something I seen a lot of people were kind of... Some people were cool with it, and some people were kind of ho-hum about it, so...
I know I'm not the best person to give the context to, because I don't care for any of the Doom games, so... It seems that they're trying to sort of outdo Mortal Kombat in the gore factor. It's like, alright, that's a thing.
Well, I mean, if they just did it with the damn settings of the game, the environments, yeah, it could be pretty damn gory.
So I was like, okay, cool. They announced a bunch of other stuff, like, Dishonored 2. Looked pretty cool. The one thing I thought was very shameless for them, but you have to remind everyone, it's a video game company, it's a business, they have to make money. They want some of that Hearthstone money, because they're making a card game for the Elder Scrolls series, like Hearthstone. They want that money. Not interested.
I don't understand the fervor for card games at all. Magic, Pokemon.
Well, you are speaking to someone that did spend a lot of money on card games back in the day, but it's something that I cannot go back to. Except for Fire Emblem Cypher, but that's more on a art collecting standpoint, honestly. But I have collected cards. I used to be with the card collecting community like a very long time, and I did play Magic a lot. I did play like a lot of anime card games and this and that. So yeah, I've been there. But digital card games, I think, kind of takes away from... I mean, it is kind of a cost-effective way to do it, but you do lose some of like the social interactivity. That might necessarily not be a bad thing in case of the Magic community, because I know a lot of people in the Magic community just fucking... I don't know.
Yeah, like, my brother is fairly into card games and stuff like that, and he just gets them and plays them, and I'm just like, I don't know. This is just not a form of if it was just, normal. I don't say normal. That's not right. If it was just like poker or some sort of gambling card game, I'm okay with, but not.
Yeah.
Here's, I've watched. It wasn't actually that long ago, but I watched two friends just kind of randomly play Magic because there were some Magic cards that they had found, and I'm just like, this makes. I mean, I understand just kind of getting it out of nowhere, making no sense, but I'm just like, this is tedious. It's so damn tedious to me. I'm like, yeah, no, thank you.
Fair enough. I mean, I just met so many people that are so hardcore into it, and I saw it as, once again, it pissed a lot of people off that I treated that very lax, like it was something to do when I wasn't playing video games, whereas these people lived and breathed it every day. If they liked, they'd be thinking new strategies and all that, and it's like, oh, I know I wouldn't never win against the championship players, but just a couple of days of fun to take a break from video games. That's what I did. So, I think I'll just rapid fire one more and I'll give the floor to Taylor once again. And that's the Microsoft conference. I actually stayed up at 3 a.m. to watch this. And I don't know why, but I did. I'm actually kind of glad I did because that's the one conference that usually doesn't do it for me. But I was actually kind of surprised that they had some interesting titles announced, like Recall, the collaboration between Keiji Inafune and the Metroid Prime team. And it actually looked pretty cool. It wasn't no gameplay, but it was the cinematic of this girl and this robot out in like the wasteland. And it seems everything is powered by these cores. And then when you defeat them, you collect their cores. And I don't know how the gameplay is, but what happens is the robot got destroyed, and basically she took the core of the robot and put into like a bigger robot. I'm like, okay. Interesting. Like, I don't know if it'd be like a day one purchase or a system seller, but it's like if it's a game that's on the cheap, like I can't say anything because it's only like a small movie, but the concept seemed pretty cool, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And Keiji Inafune has his hand in a lot of cookie jars nowadays.
Yeah, he needs to just release that Mighty Number 9 game to kind of foot that bill and kind of square that up so that people can be like, oh, this is great, or oh, this is but
it's not too long now, it's September, so
right, so we'll see how it turns out.
One of the biggest unusual games that I haven't really looked into, but I saw at E3 and I was blown away the visual presentation, was a game called Cuphead. And Cuphead is a platformer that is in the style of a 1930s cartoon.
This is one thing I saw a bunch of people kind of talking about, and I'm like, it's distinct in the sense of it kind of being that 1930s style, but no, thank you. It's just an art style I don't like. It's just no.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't watch 1930s cartoons, but I'm looking at it at the point of I'm amazed that the developers was able to replicate it one for one, because when some people try to replicate a style, it's really hard to get it down pat. And I was really amazed that they were able to do it. I mean, once again, it's another game that if I had an Xbox One, I'd probably get it at the cheap. But it looks pretty cool. Probably the biggest shock, and I reckon it's probably one of the best values of money. And if you, there was an episode of Power On Podcast that we did where we talked about compilation packs and how much I love them and how much they're great values of money. Well, Rare announced their Rare, was it Replay Collection or something like that?
It sounds right, a Replay Collection.
30 games. And most of them are like 360 and HD and 64 games, and like that blows my mind because I'm so used to compilation packs having like 8-bit, 16-bit games, and here's a compilation pack that has all these like high-end games for the last 10, 15 years, and I'm amazed at the lineup there is, and like you see stuff like Jet Force Gemini and there's a Blast Corps and there's Killer Instinct Gold on there, and just a lot of others, all the Banjo games.
It's definitely a pretty darn good deal for those kind of games, and for people who really like that generation, like particularly like the 64 Rare games. That's especially like Jet Force Gemini. I'm not quite sure if that game has come out on anything else.
No. And they do have some older games, like they've got Battletoads NES and arcade versions.
Oh,
and yeah, dear heaven, did right. And I know a lot of people will be excited for RC Pro-Am, so it's really good value for money. So they said in America it's $30 for 30 games, and I'm like, holy shit, that's pretty badass. So that's awesome. And of course, Rare took the time to announce their game for the Xbox One called the Sea of Thieves, which is a pirate simulator where pretty cool. So like you have a crew of pirates, you can raid islands, and then you get on your ship, and then you sail the seas, and you fight other ships and all that. And if that would have got released before the Assassin's Creed games, it would have been sort of groundbreaking. But it sort of looks and plays exactly how those games do with the shipfaring combat. So I hope this does well for them. And the final piece of Microsoft news that I'm not big on VR, but it was pretty cool what they had for the presentation of the HoloLens, which is like a pair of glasses that you wear, and it emits like a holographic image, which is it's not really so much virtual reality, but it's dealing with holograms, which is a tech piece, which is something I've always been interested in ever since I've watched sci-fi shows to see if this sport's going to have holographic imagery in the future. But I thought it was really cool how they did it. Like, you put on the glasses, apparently you can go to any wall, any table surface, and you can say create game screen. And of course, doing it on the wall, pretty cool. But I thought it was really cool when they actually did it on a table, and they actually created a three-dimensional playing field on a table. And the game they used to demonstrate this was Minecraft for the HoloLens. And the thing was, though, I didn't know it was visual trickery in like video editing to do it, or this actually happened. So I followed it up with a lot of articles, and they said, yeah, it was exactly like it was in the conference. I was blown away. I was like, jeez, you mean, because it's not like a Kinect where it's like a little. So I think this would actually be more tangible than Kinect, I reckon. I don't know if everyone will be for it, but I reckon a lot more people would probably be for playing holographic games. Like, if you were playing like a strategy game, I could see that being really beneficial. Not so much like action games, unless it's like a brawling game where you have like enemies coming at you in the center. But it'll be interesting to see what games people develop for it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, the whole virtual kind of it's definitely like the another step along the way of the evolution of gaming and stuff. But I don't know. I think it's nifty. I think it'd be definitely better than the Kinect, because the Kinect is just things like that are not very good, particularly when trying to sell it overseas or something, because people don't have ginormous living rooms or whatever to do that sort of thing. So having something like that where you can just display it on a wall or something is a lot better idea.
It is a better idea, and especially if you play I'm more interested in the tabletop feature, like creating a 3D playing field. And of course, that's not going to work with all games, but it'll certainly work with a lot of games. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what else. Like when I saw that Minecraft, I was like, if Lego got a hold of this license, they can basically recreate a virtual Lego set, which would be cool, because I recently just picked up a toy catalog just because I was bored, and I read it, and I was blown away how much Lego costs nowadays. Like, there's one set, $500. I'm like,
what?
Are you kidding me? That's the price of a PS4. I mean,
holy crap.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, No way. So maybe they can create sort of like a cheaper alternative to that, where they can sort of access any sort of Lego piece and they can put it on the table, just to thought out an idea there. And I'm pretty sure someone at Lego has the same idea. So, yeah. And that's sort of my news. I'm not going to talk about like Ubisoft and EA because I actually didn't watch them. And when I followed up like reading articles and they had nothing I was interested in. So with that in mind, I'm going to pass the mic to Taylor.
Okay. I'm figuring out which to kind of go with first. So you had that little bit of news about Nintendo on Sunday. Then you had the Microsoft conference. Next up was the Sony conference, was it not?
It certainly was.
Okay. So, like I said at the beginning of this, I just honestly, I don't know if it was just because of being too busy with things and just not really having the, truth be told, busy with things and writing stuff kind of takes away time to look up things. So, the one thing I did see that people went absolutely apeshit for was during that conference, and I saw this crop up like 10-15 minutes afterwards, was that a certain third game was announced for Kickstarter.
Yes, it was. And yeah, well.
Holy Jesus. So basically, was Suzuki, you?
Yep, Yu Suzuki.
Yeah, he came out, and I guess he announced it, but from what I could tell, it wasn't like it was a huge, giant, at least from the crowd. It was kind of like...
It was. I could hear the noise.
I don't know. It didn't seem like it was, unless I caught a different clip of it. It didn't seem like the crowd was that giddy about it. Well, because you're talking about it like a Sony crowd. And you're talking about Dreamcast games.
I saw one guy actually that was in the crowd actually had a phone, and they went nuts. Like seriously. So. And
it's kind of weird. I don't know. Like I didn't see that, so I just saw one where it didn't quite seem like that. But it's one of those things that you look at it, and Shenmue 3 being announced for Kickstarter it had that initial eruption of going and hitting its $2 million goal within 9 hours.
Yep.
And this kind of harkens back to an earlier episode we were talking about how it's really cool to be able to do something like that, but in the same hand, these people doing it, it's not quite demonstrating the full amount needed because they're also being backed by Sony.
Yeah.
And like I don't have an issue with it because to me, I think, oh, okay, what he's doing is he's able to get the assets from Sega. Sega's like, fine, dude, go at it. Be our guests. Sweet, thanks. So he puts it up there, and beforehand he approaches Sony and whatever. And Sony's like, well, if you can guarantee that you can get X amount of money, we'll help fill out the rest. People went apeshit for the game being announced, and then there was this like secondary wave of dumbass attack. That just they're like, well, this is seedy Sony trying to like, like not telling them that they're helping fund the game and stuff, and it's like, well, duh, because if they said, oh yeah, we're helping fund the game, and then they don't hit that goal, they're probably not going to fund the game because then they're going to be like, well, see, look, not enough people are interested in this, or not enough financial investment is worth in it to continue it.
Yeah, no, well said. Pretty much, I read all the comments as well. I was one of those people that was absolutely down when I watched Sony conference and the Shenmue, a piece of music I'm well familiar with played. I was like, no, because I was one of those people who lost their marbles when I heard it. Because last year I finally got to play Shenmue, and it wasn't like a spur of the moment thing. I've wanted to play Shenmue at that point for about 13 to 14 years. It was that game that was out of my grasp for the longest time. I just couldn't get a hold of it. Something always came up, and I found that it's probably the hardest game that I've ever tried to procure. And when I finally got it, it was like a long time coming. I played it, and it is my favorite game of the Dreamcast. It's such a poetically beautiful game. I was actually playing 2 last night, and then I found out the disc is fucked. So, yeah, it actually came up on the screen. Your disc is either dirty or damaged. Please press A to go to the main Xbox screen.
Yes.
I will not know what the full woo-doo is just yet, but I actually spent a good deal of the day watching reactions, because there's a lot of fan communities out there that are kind of slightly volatile. Me and Taz got tales about the Final Fantasy community, and other communities that are very sort of, I don't know, you just don't want to step in. The Shenmue community, to me, was one of the very few communities that I've known about for a long time that are very full of very wonderful, passionate people. They're just truly wonderful. And this week, I've just been watching a lot of videos and reading a lot of posts of people that they thought they were dreaming, they never thought this day was come. And yeah, it's just a wonderful feeling to see all these people just really appreciate what's happened. No one expected it, and they're truly grateful that this is happening. So I was like,
well, if anything, when that sort of was coming along, or being, it's coming to there, you kind of figure that the announcement's going to be like, oh, it's the 1 and 2 HD release that we've finally been waiting for.
Yeah, I still got that in the back of my mind that they may make a deal. It'll be in 2016, because they said that Shenmue 3 is going to be slated for December 2017. And if you've actually played Shenmue, December is actually the month they release those games because of the significance of December in the very first game. So that's why they want to release in December of 2017. Methinks that they still have this HD collection. It may have jumped ship to the PS4, and it may or may. I'm not saying it won't happen, but it got announced or leaked out a couple of years ago, and hopefully maybe in 2016 they'll have 1 and 2 available for the PS4. That'd be pretty cool.
Because I'll be honest, I have never played Shenmue, and seeing people talk about it and seeing some gameplay of it. Actually, the thing is the gameplay that I've seen of it isn't it's doing the capsule stuff, or just kind of walking around talking to people. I don't know what the hell else you do in that game other than drive a fucking forklift for a job. But I mean, I just seeing that, I'm like, okay, seeing the Kickstarter explode, okay. The thing that I thought was kind of cool was just looking through the Kickstarter and just kind of reading about, I mean, there's not that much detail, but reading the little detail that is there, and just kind of seeing these different characters and stuff, and you're like, okay. I like the hand-drawn artwork with each of the characters there, particularly Landi's. He looks like such a hard ass.
The thing is I've always said before, I have the ability to sort of replay a game, find out when it was released, and then I'll say, what was I doing around that time? What was 1999? I was 14. What was 14-year-old Greg doing? What was he playing? He was playing stuff like Final Fantasy VIII, and I think I just got off playing Ocarina of Time and all that. And I said to myself, if I would have played Shenmue back then, my little mind probably wouldn't taken it. My little teenage mind wouldn't just be like, I even playing in 2014, I was able to see the amount of detail and the depth the game provides. And people say there wasn't anything like it back in 1999, 2000, and I believe them. I know that you make the argument between realism and sort of fantasy, that always going hyper realistic is never the way, but I think in the case of Shenmue it actually works out. there's a lot of people that don't get it, and I can understand why, because you have to repeat the process that you have to do everything the same time minute, go home, do the day again, like if your investigations are doing their job. When you explain it like that, it would turn a lot of people off, but when you play the game, it's a different story. It's just, I basically got sucked into that world, and I really enjoyed every minute of it. And I tried everything out, from the capsule toys, playing the old school Sega arcade games, and and yes, even the forklift, like that was kind of monotonous, but I thought it was great because you had to save the money to go to Hong Kong and all that, so it kind of meshes really well. And the fact that it's not just doing the forklift, is a lot of the fights and the story segments take place in the docks towards the end of the game, so you're in that area for a reason. And there's even a part in the game where you do actually fight some bugs on your lunch break. So it does match together really nice. And you'll grow to hate these bugs. And the way they ended that with one of the greatest battles ever in video game history, with the 70-man fight, that had to be one of the coolest gaming moments ever. Like, seriously, it's really cool. So I love mystery games, I love adventure games, and I like martial arts. I love martial arts movies, and essentially that's what Shenmue is. It's a really cool martial arts movie come to be like a life simulator, basically. And yeah, Shenmue hits all the notes of me. It's my favorite Dreamcast game. It would be my favorite Xbox game if it bloody worked. And there's now, I want to end the Shenmue news talking about something not so cool. eBay. News of Shenmue 3 basically switched everyone into jacking mode. Wasn't bad enough before, it's bad now, which is kind of really bad. That's why I'm hoping they do release that 1 and 2 to kind of put in their face, honestly. But if they can make a buck, of course, rah, rah, rah. But it's really obnoxious when you see like Dreamcast copies of Shenmue go for $200 now. It's just like, I'm so happy I got my copy for $80, and ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, trying to make a buck off everyone's hype, because you got the people already got their copies of Shenmue, and then you got people's curiosity. It's like, what's this Shenmue about? Okay, I'll give it a try, and I've got to get 1 and 2 now, and it's just not doing the world any favors. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to. I actually haven't backed the Kickstarter yet because it's kind of been the first week, fortnight in a very long time that I have no money. I've got food, I've paid my bills, I'm fine, just can't do anything else, So I'll probably have to wait like a week or two before I can. I'm actually not going to be doing it too big. Like, I love Shenmue, but I'm not like a Shenmue collector. And at this point, the only way to sort of play the PS4 version is actually to get the digital tier, the basic digital tier, which I'm probably going to do because I want to play it on my PS4. And hopefully, like in the future, there will be a physical PS4 copy tier, and I'll probably back that. So
didn't they have a? I was looking at some of the stretch goals. Wasn't one of the stretch goals like a, or maybe it wasn't? Maybe I'm misremembering. But wasn't one of them the a videos for kind of what happened during Shenmue 1 and 2?
Yeah. That actually could debunk the theory that they are going to do 1 2, because this is the thing with the Xbox copy. The Xbox copy of Shenmue 2 came with a full disc of Shenmue 1, the movie, where they took like all the cutscenes and some of the fights and made it more cinematic. And it was actually, that was my first introduction to Shenmue, and I actually really enjoyed it. However, playing the game, there's a lot more that didn't make that disc, so right. I'm really glad that I played the game instead. So I'd probably rather people play the game over watching the movie, but if there's no other alternative, it's not that bad. Like, especially if they actually adapt Shenmue the movie to the new audience, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with Shenmue 2, so that would probably be just the least, I wouldn't say the word worst case scenario, but just the least case, you can't do worse. And if you're really that inclined that you want to experience the whole game and you can't get a hold of the game, then YouTube it, I guess. So yeah.
So, alright, back to you there, Mr. Greg.
Alrighty. Very quickly, I want to talk about a game that everyone has believed to be vaporware. This got the crowd pumping, and that is The Last Guardian. was the show. Well, what do you call it when you sort of enter or begin a show? Like, words fail me right now. It was the first game that they showed to kick off the conference, and it was nice to see it still alive, and it looks pretty good. I will be one of those people to say that I don't see the difference between that and the original PS3 version they made, but that's not like that's not a knock against it, because I thought the game looked pretty cool, and I'm not really that much of a graphics whore, to tell you the truth. So I thought, it looks cool. I like the animation with the boy and the pet, and it reminds me so much of Ico. Like, I thought this would be its own thing, but it kind of feels like a spiritual sequel to Ico, and that's not a bad thing. So I actually really enjoyed Ico.
Well, it's supposed to be like a very loosely based trilogy with Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and Last Guardian. So I don't know how that's gonna really sit with people, but I do hope that people who've been waiting will enjoy it.
Yeah, it was basically the platforming and the puzzle elements just remind me so much of Ico more than Shadow of the Colossus. But I'm pretty sure there's going to be probably a part in the game there's going to be like this giant enemy that's going to harken back to Shadow of the Colossus or something. So we'll see what happens. But they finally slated a 2016 release. So Team Ico fans, get PS4s ready. It's coming. There's a game a new IP they showed there that looks pretty cool, was Horizon Zero Dawn, and I like the concept of the game that it's a game about tribes roaming the wild wilderness of Earth, talking about how they found the ruins of the old civilization that happens to be ours, basically. Like, you see huge skyscrapers of all the different cities and everything, and obviously something didn't happen. Shit went down. Most humans didn't live to see the day. So, and I like the fact in the trailers, the part where it says darkness covered the earth, and it just showed a big power out, and it never came back on. So it shows that I think hundreds of thousands of years later, and you see all these tribes, and then I was like, oh, this looks cool. Then you saw gameplay. It was one of those games like Lost Odyssey where the cutscenes and it sort of transitions into the gameplay one for one. And it looks stunning. It's pretty cool. It's a game where you play this female hunter that goes around the wilderness, and she fights these sort of mechanical sort of animal beings that sort of taken over the planet. And she has to defeat them, I think, hunt for them, take their stuff or their I don't know, items. Ladies and gentlemen, words are failing me. I've got a word in mind and I can't reach it.
Take the spoils.
Take the spoils, basically, yeah, piece of food or metal or whatever, because they use that metal to actually create their weaponry and all that. Looks very cool. Visually, it's a stunning game for the PS4, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. It looks pretty cool, so... I should pass it back. Do you have any more Sony conference news?
Not really, and I think, I was kind of thinking about it, I think that's part of the reason why I'm not so engaged with the E3 this year is that I just don't have any of those systems. I don't have a Wii U. I don't have a PS4. I don't have an Xbox One, and so.
Well, I'll fire off the rest then. Just very, very quickly. Just tease fans, because apparently we've now acknowledged that Square Enix. And now they've learned to tease the internet, so to speak, like most other companies do. And they released this footage of a new game called World of Final Fantasy, which is yet again another sort of fan servicey Final Fantasy games. There hasn't been a ton before that. I know a lot of people treated this oh my god, this is kind of a tribute to the fans. I'm like, there's Kingdom Hearts, there's Dissidia. There's a ton of games that pay tribute to Final Fantasy. It's nothing new, but this one, the World of Final Fantasy, it showed two kids in sort of a chibi style that I'm not partial to, and they transformed into characters that looked like they were from Kingdom Hearts, and they joined up with various other characters of the Final Fantasy series, and you fight together in a ATB battle system style. There wasn't really much to show. this looks okay.
It sounds dumb as hell, to be honest. I mean, it seems like the selling point is that more of the artistic design of it is soft to the point where it can welcome younger audiences as well as kind of just people who are just kind of like cutesy things.
Exactly. It looks like an entry-level Final Fantasy game for anyone that's sort of new, and they can get it interested in the characters and probably grow up and probably play those games. So, but of course, that wasn't what they had in mind. And I lost my mind when it's like, you know, they show that, and then you see the live stream appear on the screen. It's like, are they going to do it? Are they really going to talk about
the... finally fucking did it.
They finally going to talk about the PS4 version of upscaled original graphics with all this stuff up? And then, nope. They get a cinematic trailer. It's like, oh my god, here it comes, here it comes. I love the wording of the narrator. Like, they were speaking directly to the player, saying, you know, it would be a great reunion. It may bring joy, it may bring fear. And I'm just like, they're clever. Like, as much as they're kind of pissing me off lately, I will give Square the benefit of the doubt. They have some interesting ideas. They like to talk to the player, because they did this with 15, where they told basically the player, not long now, you know. So it's kind of really cool. And you see Midgar, but you don't see anything of note in the trailer. It just like nothing that sort of goes, oh, it's a remake. Like, and then you see this like the Sector 7 slums, and they're walking through it, and then you see Barrett, and then you see Cloud, and then it has like the really new shiny Comet logo, and then it came up the words remake, and everyone. The whole world over.
Pooped their pants.
Shited their pants. Shat. Shat their britches.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting because some people were like, you know, trying to stem the excitement by be careful what you wish for, because it's not going to be a one-for-one conversion. And they've even said that they're going to, there's going to be an evolution of the gameplay. Let that sink in, and how frightening that could be.
I know. Nomura had a lot of interviews this week, and like he talked about how like he's gonna tell a different story. He's gonna tell like the main points, but it's not gonna be one for one. He's gonna elaborate. He's probably gonna take some things out. Even though the one thing people were worried about was the cross-dressing scene. I'm like, really, people? That's what you're worried about? Seriously?
I need to have my scene of sweaty men pounding Cloud, obviously. That's people are way too held up on that, I guess. But like I think if they do it to where they're trying to properly tie in some of the prequel stuff as well as some of the stuff that comes after.
That's what I'm thinking.
That would make sense. That would be like the obvious plot hole thing that they should be fixing, as well as the shitty translation. But
it's going to change the whole Nibelheim part of the game, honestly. Like, because, well, we have Crisis Core, and I have a good feeling that you'll be seeing Crisis Core for PS4 very soon. So
I hope not. That game's terrible.
Really? You're like the only person. Like,
I know. The game is so bad. Oh, I love the ending for it, but god damn, is that game terrible.
I actually really like the game. I thought it came out at the right time, and it was a game that sort of really showed the how awesome the PSP was before Falcom, just kind of just trampled and everything else. But I enjoyed it. I know, like, it's kind of frustrating how it's all in bite-sized missions. Like, I liked it, but as an RPG fan, I do like some more substantial sort of quests. And it was all bite-sized because it's on the go, obviously. But, I liked it. I liked the story. I liked sort of like, learning more about Shinra and all that. So I enjoyed Crisis Core. But because that exists, wondering how Nibelheim's going to fare. And yes, people who didn't like Crisis Core is dreading that other characters like Genesis will make its way into the remake. And I'm just like, that is.
Because he shows up in, doesn't he show up in Dirge of Cerberus?
Yes.
Yeah. So, spoilers. He shows up in that game too, guys. Sorry.
So I don't know how they're going to do this because Final Fantasy 7 is a Sephiroth show, so...
Well, right, but the thing that gets to me, like, I'll be honest, I don't give a rat's ass for this remake. And I know I'm just going to be pissing off, I'm just, like, I don't know. I don't like 7 that much. I don't like 7. I'm mad towards 6, but so that's where that kind of stands. But
because you love 5.
oh yes, because the ever burning passionate love that I have for 5 just it kind of dwindled out. No, I just don't like 7. I like 7 came out at a time I really didn't play very many games. I tried to get back into playing RPGs with 7, couldn't happen. I was like, this is I don't know. I just didn't like it. I've replayed it. I don't like the music. I don't care. It just doesn't work for me. And to see this, I'm kind of like, okay, all right, got your remake. It's only been 20 damn years.
Really so. I've talked to you before. I love Final Fantasy VII, and I like it because I really like the characters. I like the story, and it wasn't for just because it was released at the time when I said no. I played that game constantly throughout the years, and I enjoy every moment. So, there's just so much to love about the game, and I'm really happy. I am in that camp who is really scared shitless that they're going to incorporate a battle system like 13. If they do that, that's gonna make me really upset. I hope they don't do that. Like, if they are going to change the battle system, cool, but do not do anything like 13. Seriously. Like, I think a lot of people are worried if it's going to be like 15. I'm like, well, I'm actually not as worried because I actually am enjoying 15. Because I actually played version 2 the other day of episode Duske, and yeah, I really enjoy it. So, I reckon that would piss a lot of people off if it transitioned to an action RPG. But, we'll see what happens. So.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting to with that little rant there about it, is that they have to include this Genesis thing because they have this mythos for that world that, from what I recall, never gets properly wrapped up.
Yeah.
And here you are remaking a game, and it kind of feels like the whole Falcon thing, too afraid to finish something. Here you've got 7, then you have that damn... I never watched the movie. This is how much I don't care for Final Fantasy VII. You have that movie afterwards. You've got Crisis Core, which is probably why I don't like the game very much, because I just don't like Final Fantasy VII. But, in Dirge of Cerberus, you got all these other FF games trying to tell the story about how the fuck they're trying to deal with Sephiroth and all that sort of stuff. And... how do they end it? They end it with, 200, 500 years afterwards, as everything's just green. The threat has been thwarted, but you don't know how because we don't...
The live stream. which of course, that got debunked in Advent Children a little bit. I'm just like, what?
Well, that's what I've had. Like, a friend of mine who's passionate about, loves this game dearly, loves the series, loves the movies and stuff. He explained his thoughts on it and said, this is how swole Sephiroth is. You beat him in your mind's eye, but he's still waiting. And then you have the movie that's not even really him, so he's still out there, and you're just kind of like, why? And that's why they ended it like that. I don't know. It's such a fucking muddled mess, and then that's why I'm just kind of like, whatever. I don't care.
And with that, I think we'll leave it at that. I'm excited, Taylor. Yeah.
Don't care. Good. It's good to see that people are finally getting that. I just think it's funny that they've skipped over 6. Those guys have got to be pissed off.
I'm going to bow to them and say thank you. I mean, again, not happy that there's no remake of 6. I'm just happy that those fans are pissed off because, they can do it. They can feel it for a change instead of pissing on other people. Seriously, Final Fantasy VI fan base, the worst, fucking worst. So, yeah, very quickly, to end the Sony conference, we got Project Morpheus. I stepped out and had a drink of water when they were showing Morpheus. But afterwards, after the conference was done, I watched a video where I was laughing my guts out. Katsuhiro Harada, besides making a really cool treasure hunting game, decided to make a realistic visual novel where you're in a summer house with a very gorgeous looking lady.
God damn it.
And I'm just like, I knew it! I knew it! This is the Futurama warned us! Even though that was with robots. People aren't going to go outside the house because they can have sex with virtual women. No, I'm kidding. I don't think you can have sex with this lady, but it's basically a simulator where you're around the summer house, obviously in holidays, and you basically hang out with this beautiful lady. I don't think this is going to be a game of any substantial. It's just going to be an awesome tech demo to show because basically she does stuff and your only controls in the game is to, because you're wearing a headset, shake your head for no or nod for yes.
Oh,
That's
boy.
it. And I'm like, the only time I'm going to no, my head is like, if something's going to happen, I'm kidding. Seriously, graphics looked amazing. I will say that looked amazing, but it's not a game for me. I thought it was really funny that Katsuhiro Harada actually put himself in the game as like the girl's uncle or dad or some shit. So it's kind of weird to see like the creator of Tekken just he's there in your face. But yeah, it's good as a tech demo, but no, I wouldn't buy Morpheus for that. But last, which I got a kick out of, Naughty, they ended the conference like everyone else knew they would with Uncharted 4, and not that I ever get any sort of pleasure out of seeing people stuff up, but they stuffed up with the demonstration. Apparently someone who's supposed to be controlling it wasn't there when they unveiled it, and so you saw Nathan Drake just
standing there,
just fucking looking at the crowd, doing nothing, and everyone's like, what's going on? And then they had to reset the game. And it might have been because the control wasn't calibrated, but yeah, they restarted it, and they went through. I was a big fan of The Last of Us. I was so blown away with that game, and sure enough, the same TLC has been put into Uncharted 4. The scope of the game really shows off the power of the PS4. Screw everyone that says this game doesn't look that great. There's a lot of people bitching, oh, that game doesn't look that good. It's like, really? Like, I thought it looked actually fantastic. I mean, the amount of detail. Especially when they're having the car chase through, like, it must have been like a Brazilian or South American sort of city, and he's like knocking over barrels, and there's chickens going everywhere, and they're basically destroying like houses. You know how like in South America how they have that sort of like alcove like in the front where it's like the two beams sort of like to cover the entrance. Well, he was taking out a lot of those, and it was a really intensive car chase, and game looks fantastic, and I've always been interested in playing the Uncharted series. The only reason I stopped because Uncharted 2 killed my first PS3, and I actually looked it up. I thought it was my PS3 on the way out. No, a lot of people's fat PS3s actually, died because of that game because it was too intensive. Apparently, because there was a scene in the game where it wasn't programmed right, and it would overheat and it would burn out the gel. And it burned out the gel on my fat PS3.
Oh.
And it was nothing against the game because I was having such a good time playing it, but I've never been able to trust it ever since. It's like very hesitant to put it back into another PS3. With that in mind, that's why I'm very happy that the PS4 collection's coming out. So that's going to be my chance to play 2 and 3 again. But I am excited for Uncharted 4, and I know you love The Last of Us, but I don't know how you feel about Uncharted.
That's the thing. I've never played any of Uncharted. I don't know why I haven't. I just haven't. That's all I can really say about it. I remember right before I went to Japan. I remember I was over at a friend's, and I was visiting him, and he was playing it. And he's like right towards the end and stuff, and I was just like, okay. Like I had the I think it might have been the first one or something, but it had it was like 3D or like third person, and you got the cover mechanic, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. From that impression, I was just like, okay, whatever, and so I never really cared for it. But then after playing Last of Us, I was like, oh, Last of Us I just really like the story of it, and so I don't know if I don't know anything really about Uncharted and I'm not getting quite. I don't have the same person who endorsed The Last of Us endorsing Uncharted, so I don't feel comfortable really playing it.
The Last of Us was a combination of all the work they did on the Uncharted trilogy, and in storytelling it is very different, so I can totally understand that. So I've heard, the third one was heard really good. The second and third ones I've heard were really good, so I'm looking forward to playing them whenever it happens. So that is it for Sony's conference. And would you like the floor again, good sir?
There's a couple things there with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So, I honestly, because I don't have a Wii U, and the only thing I'm sort of looking forward to is Fire Emblem, and that's only because it's not even on the radar, even though it comes out the 26th for Japan there, a week. A week away, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's coming. But this is part of the problem that I have with wanting to talk to different people about gaming announcements or game announcements and stuff, is that you get a lot of people fucking whining about anything and everything. It's like, oh, I like this game and this game and this. It's like they'll rattle off 3 games or something, but then they'll just say, well, these guys did terrible because they didn't appeal to me or please me enough. And I'm like, really? Fuck off. If you're like it pisses me off that people are so fucking full of themselves and so entitled to think, oh, I am the super king lord and I know everything, and because it didn't appeal to me, they're losers and all this kind of stupid shit. And I'm just like, find better hobbies to do.
I didn't see the hate. I thought it was actually a very safe conference for them. I was very okay with it. Like, I didn't think they... The only thing that did bore me, and it wasn't something I hated, it was something that actually did bore me, was when they talked about the Yoshi's Epic Yarn amiibos. That was the part where I was just like, okay, I'm just going to have a little nap here.
Well, they mentioned that the Metroid Prime multiplayer game, and people are fucking throwing a goddamn fit. This ruins the Metroid Prime name.
A petition. A petition to remove the game. Like,
I petition that they throw themselves off a fucking cliff, because I'm so fed up with just the amount of whiny, retarded crybaby nonsense with that sort of shit. Oh, gonna cry about it.
Do you know what the sad thing is, though, Taylor? Is that when they showed the Blast Ball sort of demonstration at the Nintendo World Championships, everyone was fine with it. Oh, this game looks like Metroid Prime. Oh, cool. When they slapped the Metroid Prime logo on it, then they were unhappy. So it's like, oh, it looks like Metroid Prime. But when you put it as an official sort of game, then it's a problem. I'm like, are you that anal about it? Are you that anal? For fuck's sake, there's no pleasing you people. I mean, you were excited one moment, and then because they want to put in the official canon, Metroid's one of those games where it's sacrilege to sort of mess with the timeline, even though it's one of those games where it's very kind of messy, because they kind of put stuff before Samus went to Planet Zebus, and less and less and less. It's like, it's just becoming a very messy timeline, ladies and gentlemen. And
well, it didn't help that Other M did what it did. Yeah. I can understand that one being like, is it supposed to be a prequel? I never played Other M, but do you know if it's supposed to be a prequel?
It's the only Metroid game aside from Metroid Prime 3, Metroid Prime 3 and Metroid Other M, the only 2 games I have not played yet. So,
because Prime was right before Zebus the second time around.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. I don't. Yeah. I only played Prime. I didn't play Prime 2 or 3. I looked at 2 and I was like, yeah, no, thank you.
2's the worst. Oh my god.
I wanted to play 3 though. 3 looked kind of fun, but I love 1. 1's fantastic.
1's amazing.
It's just if, for example, we've mentioned it before, not biggest fans of Awakening. I have actually no desire to fucking play that cross-dress-up game of Fire Emblem Cross, whatever the fuck they're calling it now.
Well, if you give me, if you indulge me, this is actually the game I was looking forward to talking to you about in a moment, for our sake.
Yeah.
And I will. It's actually quite funny how I'm going to set this up, so I'll let you continue.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just whatever the hell that mess is, I don't care for it. But I'm not going to sit here and fucking keyboard warrior of justice petition online about something like these things don't. That shit does not matter. What matters is how you spend your money, because that is the voice that you have as a consumer.
Yes.
Doing all this other stupid shit, unless I could understand if it was a game that was predicated on the basis of promoting hatred towards a group of people, or to select people. I could understand saying, hey, don't do, I could be a bit more of a, that's a bad idea to have this sort of thing. That's not, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, you're desecrating the fucking name of Really, guys? It's a fucking, where were you guys at when they desecrated the name of Mario with fucking Mario is missing? Where where were you for Metroid Pinball? Did that not desecrate the name enough for you? I mean, or fucking Mario Sunshine. I just. Or the fact that Samus is in Mario RPG. Why aren't you shitting bricks of anger and tossing them through glass houses that way? Because it's like, come on.
It is very frustrating, and I think people were very much overreacting, and I didn't know if you had anything to say, because I just had a few of the games that I wanted to fire off.
Let's see, the I'm trying to remember what the hell that thing was called. My Animal Crossing. All I could think of was Animal Farm. Like, that's totally not it. Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing. What the hell did they announce for that? Because there was something that came across for that. Do you remember?
No, because that was the only part of the conference where I kind of had to take a toilet break due to Animal Crossing. That's my cue to take a leak. So,
there's something about it it's not quite Animal Crossing, but it's something a little different.
It's kind of like a party game that uses amiibos, and I'm guessing that's what I heard from the offshoot afterwards. So,
So, but yeah, that's it for me.
Alrighty, I'm gonna fire off three games, and then I'm getting into the chat that I've been looking forward to talking to Taylor about, and probably not so for him. So it's going to be fun. Trust me, I've been waiting for this.
Right.
Okay, first up, Star Fox Zero. I have never been the biggest Star Fox fan, but I do like some of the artistic points. I actually like the characters. Whenever I play a Smash game, that's my favorite game to play the Star Fox characters in. And I do like the world of Star Fox, but there's something about the control system of most of the games. Mind you, I've not played Star Fox 64, so might have to rectify that, but I played the first game and it was okay. I didn't blow my mind. I think it was one of those games that you had to play back when it was released to get the full effect. But I take an interest, and I like the look of Star Fox Zero. It looks pretty cool. People are bitching and moaning that it looks like a 3DS game upscaled. I'm like, really? Here we go again with the graphics whores. I don't see a problem with the game, for fuck's sake. Seriously? I mean, what are you expecting it to be, a PS4 game? I'm sorry, it's the Wii U, and I think the Wii U does some awesome visually games, and if you're not pleased with Star Fox, then maybe you should jump ship from Nintendo and enjoy some of the games on the next-gen consoles, honestly, because they're doing the best with what they have, and I think it looks pretty cool. I did like the fact that they they showed tribute to the unreleased Star Fox 2 by having the walkers in the game, which is pretty cool. So I'm more like hopeful for this game because I think it's one of the very few Star Fox games in a long time where Miyamoto himself is at the helm of the game. So it's like, okay, this will be interesting. So if it's really cheap, I'll actually consider getting it. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this is. I guess like as excited as people were for E3, with a lot of big announcements or stuff, it's just a lot of like a friend of mine best described it as this E3 was what everybody wanted 10 years ago, and if we use the idea that you have of what were you doing at that certain point when an older retro game came out 10 years ago, I was very not caring for a lot of games. So Star Fox, I mean, I never played the 64 game, never played the only warm memory, fuzzy memory that I have for Star Fox are those god awful fucking 10-minute videos that Nintendo had sent out of Diddy Kong Racing and Star Fox. Oh, damn.
I will say this, the one thing I do like about Star Fox is they have some really good pieces of music. I love the main theme, Cornelius theme, I think, and all that. I really do. Like that's when I play Smash Brothers and you like dun 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 dun. Like, this is cool. I like this. So, yeah, it's always been Smash Bros. That's one of those sort of gateway sort of drugs into other Nintendo franchises I never got to play. I was actually really happy for it because of the whole Marth and Roy thing, because that's like, oh, what's Fire Emblem? Oh, it's a strategy RPG from Nintendo. Yep, I'm definitely going to be playing that. So, and then you got, I've always known about Star Fox, but I never had like an opportunity to play it. So when I played Smash, I was like, okay, I'll definitely have a go at this. But as far as Star Fox Zero goes, yeah, if it's cheap enough, I'll get it eventually. But of course, love Zelda. They announced Legend of Zelda Triforce Hunters being the spiritual sort of successor to the Four Swords, but there isn't 4 links this time. It's only 3, but it's using sort of like the assets from the Link Between Worlds, and it's a more sort of co-op sort of game. Looks pretty cool, actually. I think they're going to use a lot of playstyles from the Link Between Worlds for Triforce Hunters, and I've always had an interest in the Four Swords Adventures, but for some odd reason, there was always something that never made me want to buy them. Not because it was always that I didn't have the money for them. They never went down in price, and I never had anyone that was like really that into Zelda in my neighborhood that would want to play those games. So I never had sort of like the optimized environment to play those games. But I always had, in the back of my mind, always wanted to play the Four Swords Adventures. So maybe with this I'll be able to finally play some of them. But I did like some of the play styles, like you actually do get those links and they do sort of create like a totem pole of sorts, and they sort of like have higher reach to do some of the more puzzles, and you throw each other at different points. So as much as I love Legend of Zelda for the action-adventure sort of elements, it is a puzzle-heavy game, and I actually do like working out the puzzles in the Zelda games. So in that regards, more than anything, I'm looking forward to Triforce Hunters.
Yeah, this is. I'm kind of in the same boat that I've never really have been afforded the opportunity to play Four Swords. Just don't have the people for it or the resources. They like Zelda, but they're not going to shell out the money for the cable or that sort of thing. You're just like, whatever. This seems fine. I've seen a lot. I guess you can change your outfits.
Yeah.
So that's something that people will kind of cling to. Is you can make a. Can't you? I think you can change the hair color, can't you?
I think so.
Yeah. So like a red-haired Link or a blue-haired Link or whatever. So.
Yeah, Link Between Worlds is my favorite 3DS game. It's like, oh, cool, it's another game that uses the same properties. I'll definitely be down for it. But so yeah, when it comes out, I'll definitely support it. And the handheld version of my gaming addiction is coming. Of course, we've already touched upon it. Hyrule Warriors Legends, it's going to be called. And yeah, they talked about that, showed that off a little bit more. There's news coming soon that not only they're going to have the 2 new characters, they're actually going to have Wind Waker battles that's going to be inserted into the story mode. So it's like, cool. I'm down for that.
Battles on Dragon Roost Island.
Pretty much, I reckon. Exactly right. One thing that I got a gift this week, and I'm actually an old school Zelda fan myself, so they actually sent players who have a copy of Hyrule Warriors the original costume for Link in the very first Legend of Zelda game. No pants, ladies and gentlemen. No pants. Feeling the breeze of the battlefield up his tunic.
Pants,
he actually has,
not even once.
and he has the brown hair that he had in the original artwork. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And I always played every day, so I was sort of grind. Finally hit the wall because the Twilight Princess map is fucking ridiculous. Like, I've done battles so many times where I lose them by 5 seconds. Like, you have to kill 1,000 people in 10 minutes. Like, that would be easy. Not when there's 5, count them, 5 dragons on the field. And most battles have 1. The Agaroks, they usually have 1. There's one battle that has 5. And they hit hard. So it's like, not feeling it. I actually ended one battle where I had 950 kills. I was 50 away.
Oh.
And I was just like, I'm not going to be playing this for a while. So yeah, I'm really cool. Looking forward to transferring the characters for Hyrule Warriors. Like Fire Emblem, I'm a big Zelda collector, and I always love getting my hands on anything new Zelda related. So looking forward to this. However, the time has come, and we have yet another edition of the Lords of Emblem. Da, 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 da. So, Nintendo now, for anyone who was complaining of this this digital event, Fire Emblem fans were not complaining because there was a lot of details that were shown, and especially for the English audience, we actually got to hear the actual dub of the game, and we actually got to see I got to see a 40-minute presentation of the game in action, and I do love the voice acting. It's really cool. I want to confirm what I've been looking forward to. King Garen of the Noor Kingdom is a piece of shit. Yes, he is a despicable piece of shit. Thank you, Nintendo. I've wanted a worthy Fire Emblem villain, and I can foresee end of the Hoshino saga, you kill the son of a bitch. End of the Noir saga, you most likely kill the son of a bitch. So I'm like, yes. Yes, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I want Taylor's experiences in the week, but yeah, he forces the player to do something that's not really cool. So it's like, fuck you! Like, seriously. Like, really looking forward to it. The dialogue's really cool. The battles are pretty much like Awakening, except the whole Dragon Vein. The power we alluded to before is called Dragon Vein in the localized version, where the main character uses his Dragon Vein powers to shift the battlefield or whatever. And in the first battle, like, he basically destroys this debris and creates sort of like this undercover area that if you go in there, apparently gives you like a stealth advantage against the enemy, where like they'll go into the room like, oh shit, there's people in here, and they'll stop dead in their track or something like that. Which is kind of weird because in the demonstration they didn't use the room, so I'm like, well, you're inviting the enemy to use the room, so that's pretty silly. But it doesn't look.
Is it kind of like in darkness when you run into a unit, like kind of just abruptly stop you or something?
Well, the only thing is they didn't go in there. But the thing was, the enemy went in there and they didn't get the bonuses, so maybe it was only for the player. I'm going to definitely try that out when I play the game, but I thought that was pretty cool. I did really, really like the voice acting. Now, this is cruel for me to do this because it's only 6 days away for you, good sir, or 7, a week. But I have to be honest, and I have to give you this final piece. This is actually going to be the final piece of Fire Emblem If news, besides the fact it's now called Fire Emblem Fates for the West, which I don't mind that. It's pretty cool.
That's not I think it's like for whatever reason, Japan likes that word if.
Yeah.
What is it? Shimigami
Tensei
if, yeah. And a lot of different if things, but Fates isn't. I mean, you can just call it the triple F if you like.
Exactly. Or the FEF, as everyone calls it.
Yeah, it's FEF. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking with triple F. Heartburn. Sorry.
But here's the final piece of news, and this may Taylor not want to buy the game, but I have to do it, good sir, because this element was the reason that both Taylor and I were excited for Awakening, because this element was introduced in Genealogy of the Holy War. Oh, and due to popular demand, it's making a return in Fire Emblem Myth. Yes, you can marry and have kids. And I'm like... See, we like this because how Genealogy did it was you had the first generation, had their story, then you had the second generation, had their story. Fantastic. I don't know how they're going to handle this, and I'm worried that it's going to be another time-traveling bullshit plot hole. And I'm like, please don't do that. For the love of God.
Sakes, please don't do that.
Don't do that. For fuck's sake, do not do that. Like, I saw an image, like, the main character had relations with his maid, which I thought was pretty funny. And then had the offspring of that, and I'm like, okay. Like, if this is going to be what this alluded final scenario where it's actually Generation 2, fucking awesome. Like, seriously. But we'll see what happens. But if it's another time travel, it's like, where the offspring comes back to help the struggle between the Hoshino and the Noir. No.
I'll just quit Fire Emblem, or at least the newer ones, and I'll just stick to playing the old ones forever. Because there's just if you're just gonna do that stupid shit, God, no, please stop doing that. That's not creative. It's not interesting. It's just lazy. It's really fucking lazy. Yeah, that's what made Genealogy interesting, is that you have things happen in the first generation, and everything doesn't, like, that's what kind of what it's a little bit, I don't want to say sucky, but I mean, it's at least when it came to Roy's and Elwood's games, it's a little because you wrap things up and then someone's got to take care of new problems. Okay, that's what made freaking Radiant series awesome, is that you wrapped up the problem. Well, the problem just kind of shat itself, and so there's other problems going on right now. And you're like, okay, there's repercussions for having done that. Mind you, Radiant Dawn isn't quite the greatest game. It's still an enjoyable one. And had awesome music. And is a whole lot better than Awakening I could ever wish it could be.
Exactly. It's a fantastic experience and story, and I'm with you. Like, and I did see an image that did really scare the shit out of me, because it had the main character and her offspring, and the main character didn't look like he changed the name. Like, no, please, no. I'm hoping that it is this. I hope it is the second generation. He's immortal or something. Like that
please, something like that. Something
like that. I'll buy. That I'll be like, yeah, sure. Like he hasn't aged or something. Yeah, do that. But do not do the time travel bullshit again. Like, I'm just sick of it. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Because it has no place in Fire Emblem. What? Come on, it's just dumb. It's just so dumb. Here's a magic portal that opens only after you've married off these units. Okay. I mean,
we'll see. Hope you'll see before I will.
And I'll be very angry I'll be angry if it's something integral, which it was with Awakening, because it was kind of like, hey, we're trying to help the future because the future's totally bleak and fucking shit. And way to go, guys. Oh, thanks. You're gonna think.
But to make you... I'm actually going to soften the blow, because we're going to make this fun for the next segment here. And it's actually going to be reasons why Taylor should not play Sharp FE.
Fucking trailer they showed was reason enough.
I'm going to play it, because I'm actually going to give my reasons why I'm actually more excited for it than I went before, but it's actually not for the reasons that I'm going to give for Taylor not wanting to play it. They released the main plot of the story where two of the main characters wants to be big in the entertainment industry. The girl wants to be an idol, and I think the friend wants to be like a well-known actor. I don't know if it's the main character who's kind of like the muse character, where he supports them and sort of helps them along their goal. And apparently there is another world, the Fire Emblem world, where it's trying to visit the Idolosphere, it's called, where it's trying to basically come down and affect this world. And the Mirages, quotation marks, basically and flood this world and wants to, I don't know, want to do bad things. They might want to take sort of like the inspirations from people and everything. And basically, the main characters are Mirage Masters, and they encounter various mirages, and they kind of, with the power of inside called Performer, they bring them over to their side, and they fight other mirages in these dungeons. And it came apparent, because I watched the 40-minute video. You know how we joked about how, this is definitely like a Persona game, like one for one, but we kind of joked about that? It's no joke. This game could be called Persona 6, from what I saw. Like, 110% a Persona game.
I am dumber for having had to hear that. Yeah. Oh my god, I don't see how you could have sat through 40 minutes of that.
And do you want to know the reason I did? What sat through it?
Why?
It's because I'm actually going to give a big round of applause to Atlas. This game looks stunning. Like, the detail in this game is extraordinary. Like, for the Wii U, I'd go as far to say it's probably the most detailed game on the Wii U. Like, you went into a Jack Frost store, like, it's called Hero store or something, and, like, everything was super fucking detailed. And I was like, is this a Wii U game? And, like, the music is kind of questionable. Like, I like the quality, but not exactly like the lyrics and everything. But visually, it's a really good-looking game for the Wii U. And everyone was wondering, well, why is it taking it this long for this to come out? It's like, they've obviously been working really hard on the game. So it is of AAA quality, and I applaud Atlas for taking the time to make this game. And like, visually, once again, I just think the game looks amazing. I just got to see the battle systems, and it is incorporation of various Fire Emblem elements and Persona elements. You've played Persona 3, right, where when you look at a Persona, it has all the stats and it has all the weaknesses and all that?
Right.
They've brought that back, but they've added sword, lance, axe, and bow to that, as well as the Shin Megami Tensei elements. And sure enough, there was like this creepy looking mirage that had twin axes. The main character, Itsuki, who's a lord, stabbed him with the sword, and it came up weak like it does in Persona 3 and 4. And then when it'll knock him down, and then sure enough, there's combinations you can do with the characters. And the battlefield takes place on a concert stage where there's like light shows and confetti and people cheering in the background and everything. So, and the characters transform when they go into the battle. They don't actually put those sort of transformations outside the battlefield. So, the battle scenes looked amazing as well. Like, again, highest quality that you will ever see on a Wii U game. Looked amazing. So it's like really cool. Now, here's the part that's going to make Taylor laugh. Because we want to know, who is the Lord Mirage that's supporting Itsuki, the main character? Take a guess who it is.
Who is it? That the girl or the female?
No.
Itsuki
Itsuki, the main character, and his Fire Emblem Mirage is your least favorite lord. It's Kron.
God damn it.
However, he looks badass and evil as fuck. So, like,
that doesn't help things.
I will say, I actually got to see a JPEG or like a PNG file. He looks pretty cool. Like, the intricate detail that they gave to him looks way better than his original Awakening look. But the fact it's Crom, it's kind of like a slap into the face to me and Taylor. It's like, you couldn't, I mean, I could understand Martha, there's, Sigurd, there's Ike, Eli.
Well, no, I'm fine with this. You know why? Because I have no desire to play it. To me, this just is another nail in that coffin about why I don't like Crom. And he can do that. Like, it's nothing against Atlas or the Persona games. This is just a combination of things I just don't care about. Here's, want to be an idol or an actor, and it's kind of modern day or little ahead techno-y, right?
Yeah. The thing is, though, because I've seen a lot of idol stories where it's so super cutesy and all that, and this doesn't come across as that super cutesy, though. There's a lot of sort of heartfelt, like, yeah, she wants to become an idol, and, like, I'm not big into idol culture as well. this is one of the only times that I'm going to give it a pass and play the game, because I think there's a lot of more in the grand scheme of things with, fighting the mirages. And the thing that actually really surprised me is there's a cutscene where there's a portal coming and the mirages are going to attack. And, like, the thing is that makes this game otherworldly is when you go around Shibuya, everyone is multicolored. They have multicolored silhouettes. When the portals came, it actually sucked out all the color around Shibuya and everyone turned to shades of gray. And I was like, okay, I actually like this from an artistic standpoint, It's kind of changing the world around there. Like,
stick with Persona. I don't need a Fire Emblem moniker to it.
Well, I actually got to see the dungeons. They are one-for-one like Persona 3 and 4. I love Persona 3 and 4. And the way how Itsuki, the main character, has got his sword out is exactly how the other characters in 3 and 4 had their swords out when they're running around and stabbing the shadows. You have to go find a mirage, stab him, initiate the battle. It's exactly a Persona game. Here's the last thing I'm going to mention about the game. And it was confirmed in the 40-minute trailer. All the big bosses, Taylor, are all Fire Emblem villains turned personified. And the first battle is the Mad King Gangrel from Awakening.
Mm.
And he was kind of fucking weird. He looked like he had a train conductor's hat. He had that sort of frill he has, but it was spiked. And then when he attacks, he'll pop off his head with the spike and like become sort of a spinner. And look, I'm not excited so much for Gangrel because it's Awakening, but the fact that there's other characters. Because the thing is it's not just Awakening characters. Like the girl, it's confirmed the girl's mirage is Cedar from Shadow Dragon.
Right.
Which is cool. And the other characters got Kane from Shadow Dragon, which is an interesting choice. But there's probably going to be more. Like I'm going to basically put my money there. I reckon it's going to be Soren for the magic user. Is going to be the Mirage.
Possibly. I mean,
because I think as far as like Fire Emblem magic users go, he's probably the most popular. But like, I'm trying to think like the other ones.
Well, if they stick with if they continue with one, you got what's his name, Malik,
yeah. But I think they're going to do other games because they've got Awakening and then you got Arcania there. Like I don't want to spoil because I reckon there'll be one and they're like I'm excited at the possibility of fighting a fucked up version of Garnet. He's already fucked up to begin with, but having Garnet in that, I'd be pretty excited. Like
but see, like this is kind of why I don't like Awakening. You have this and mixture of all these other Fire Emblem games, and while it's not as egregious as Awakening is, because Awakening is forcefully tying all these things, it's reinforcing the idea of it, it feels like, and I'm just kind of like, no, stop it.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. I'm kind of looking at this more as a Persona fan, because I do like 3, I do like 4. As you know, I'm kind of struggling with the whole otaku culture. That's the only thing sort of holding me back from like you take my fucking money now, like that sort of mentality. But I'm just amazed at the quality that they produced in the game. I really am, artistically. I did like the battle thing. I didn't really hear it that much over the commentation of the people playing it with the Nintendo Treehouse. Visually, I think the game looks fantastic. I really do like the battle system, how it's kind of a combination of the two. More so in Persona's favor, because I like Persona games for its battle system. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I do want to say this one last thing before we go off, and I do apologize to anyone who hasn't played Sword of Seals yet. There is a character in the real world that kind of looks like Eidolon from Sword of Seals. I'm like, is she gonna be the main villain? so she got the same sort of hair and the same sort of face. So I'm like, okay, so that's what we're going with. So yeah, Sharp FE. I'm looking at it as a completely sort of new IP. Sort of been a fan of Persona 3 and 4. The fact it's kind of a unique AAA RPG. For a system that has no RPGs. So, yeah. I hope you like that addition of reasons why Taylor shouldn't play it. Oh, and I'll end it with, yes, there is an attack where 2 idols defeat the enemies with love hearts. Nail in the coffin for you, good sir.
Wow, that did it right there. I mean,
That was the only part of the stream I was like, really? That's kind of lame. So, but I won't use that attack. Hopefully, not that often. if I haven't by way. So yes, that will probably end the Nintendo side of things for me. And now I'm just gonna find my center. Find my chi so I don't blast the microphone, but I shall give the floor to Taylor before I go nuts.
I don't think there was much else that there's not really much else that I've got to see. I'm curious to hear your explosion here because I don't know why you're angry at them. I'll say that.
Alrighty, well I didn't get that moment I needed, but alrighty.
sorry.
No, it's okay. Square conference, and Square Enix hasn't had a conference in a very long time. Now, this E3 showed me about how you should always perceive everything. You should have no expectations. I had no expectations of the Microsoft and Sony conference. And I actually enjoyed it far more. That's why I enjoyed the Sony conference more, because they just blasted all this surprise in my face, and I really loved it. I went in the Square, and unfortunately, the suckers hyped me again. So I've got my own. It's my own fault, really, for expecting so much from them. But they went into they had half of it was Western games and half of it was some Japanese games. And the first game they showed was Just Cause 3. Couldn't give two fucks. Yeah, this action game where you can do everything you want and blow up this dictatorship and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't care. Just Cause 3. But then, they did something that's kind of like a slap in the face for me, because everyone in the YouTube community is always giving me shit that I haven't beaten this game. And they decided that they're going to bring out a new game in the series. They're going to bring out a new Nier game, and it's going to be made by Platinum Games. And I was like, there's going to be so many people that are going to have wet dreams because of this. But for me, I struggle to play the first Nier game. I really do. So I can't really get excited for this. But I'm actually kind of a fan of Drakengard and all that. But it's kind of funny that they released this news. This was the big surprise that everyone was waiting for. And I was like, Nier was not in the forefront when I was hoping for that big surprise. So for that to be the big quote-unquote surprise, I was just like, oh, man.
I completely forgot that was announced, to be honest. I know there's definitely a few people that we know that really, 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 really love that game. And I know I've been recommended to play it quite a few times, and I never did in Japan because I guess the nuances are a little bit different. They changed some of the stuff around for specifically for the Japanese audience. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to. No. It was basically, and I just have not really seen it, nor have really had the chance to kind of get into it. Some of the music I've heard sounds great, but but yeah, that's the thing. I've only heard the ones that people have been like, man, the song's awesome. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Not the first field theme, because I wanted to kill myself after hearing it. It's so repetitive. It's the most repetitive piece of music I've ever listened to in my years of gaming, and I just want to be like, you are going on mute, seriously, effectively. So, and I love people like, great, the soundtrack's amazing. Really? Because I'm listening to this, and this is really annoying the shit out of me. So, yeah, if you're a Nier fan, yeah, I mean, you should be happy, man. Especially if you're a fan of Platinum Games. This is the first collaboration between Square Enix and Platinum Games, so we'll see what happens. Okay, one thing I was excited about is I got to see the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. I actually like Kingdom Hearts. I'm not the biggest Disney fan. So any of the Disney segments, it's any of the Final Fantasy segments, cool. But I actually like the original story in between all that jazz, where it's got the original sort of characters and their sort of struggles. I actually really like that part of Kingdom Hearts. And what's really cool is you got to see two of the oldest characters as kids playing this chess game, talking about the world of darkness and this exists and all this, and how they did that and they showed off the new graphics. It looked fucking cool. And the chess set looked amazing. I'm like, seriously, they market that, I'll buy that, because it was the best looking chess set I've ever seen in my life. And then they showed off the pictures of Sora and Ko, like fighting the Heartless and was it the Tangled world? And the graphics look freaking cool. They look really good. I like the fact that Minoru's like, I'm glad you like the graphics. That's actually not going to be the build that we're using. Like, you serious? You're going to build off this? Wow. Cool. I'm looking forward to it because, I've always liked Kingdom Hearts also as an action RPG. I've always felt it's the natural progression after, like, the second Densetsu games. And, yeah, really digging it. And that was probably my favorite part of the Square conference. So I can't say I can walk away empty-handed. But, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I've only played the first Kingdom Hearts game. I didn't mind it, but it did not do enough for me to really want to play any of the other games. And I mean...
Yeah.
I understand that the other games, there's, of course, going to be different things. They'll tweak certain things here and there and whatnot to make it better or for worse. But I just seen it, I'm like, yep, okay.
Unfortunately, I love the Kingdom Hearts series, but Kingdom Hearts 2 did for the series what Metal Gear Solid 2 did for the Metal Gear Solid series. It just made it extraordinarily messy after that, and there was a lot of entries that were not needed. Like, I love Birth by Sleep. That's a fantastic origin game for the Kingdom Hearts series, and it's amazing. Free 58 over 2 days. I actually don't recommend anyone play that. Like, it's an alright DS game, but it's one of my least favorite Kingdom Hearts games. I haven't even bothered to play that coded game. And Dream Drop Distance was okay. Like, but I felt like it lacked a lot of things to make it a full sort of experience. It just felt like a side offering. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to another, like, numbered entry Kingdom Hearts game. Mm. But, alrighty, they showed off, like, Rise of the Tomb Raider. I actually am excited for that because the game actually looks beautiful. Like, the physics in that game's amazing when she was scaling, when Lara Croft's scaling the snowy mountain, and like you have to be dodging sort of avalanches and everything, and making insane sort of jumps using like your hook and everything, trying to secure this other person as well. Very intense, very awesome. I really like the look of the game. The other Western game is a series that I get a lot of grief for because a lot of people worship the series. I don't care for it. Is Deus Ex. Don't care for the series. And I remember back in the day, it's like people were like, this is the perfect game, 100 out of 100. Played the PS2 version and like, that was one of the worst games I ever played.
Jesus.
And I was just like, yeah. And then I tried to play, was it the one on PS3? Nah, I just couldn't get into it. Just not a series for me. Wasn't excited for the news of the new game. And of course, Hitman was there. Didn't give a shit about that either. So half this conference, I was just like, oh, okay. Bored out of my mind.
People say Hitman and Deus Ex. I've never played any of those games, so it's just kind of okay.
Essentially, you had half a conference I didn't give a shit about. I was sitting there with my hand in my head going, wake me up when there's more news. And then, basically, the guy from Trace came and showed Star Ocean 5. And, yeah, I'm Star Ocean is a series I've talked to Taylor about. It's kind of like the ultimate, I don't like grading that much, but it's the ultimate 8 out of 10 series where it's like, I like it, but I'm not the push to say that I'm a devout. Like, I'm not a Star Ocean devout, but I do like the games. And it's one of the only sort of Tri series I actually have all the games for, except for Blue Sphere. And, they showed off the new gameplay. They sort of confirmed for the Western fans where it takes place before 3 and all that jazz. And
right.
And then they showed, like, gameplay, like the transition, like there's no transitions. It's kind of like Infinite Undiscovery where there's no battle transitions. You're walking around, you see a party of enemies, you go over there and you automatically engage them, Xenoblade kind of style. Pretty cool. I liked it, like the visuals. The fact there's going to be 6 characters, which is pretty awesome if you're like a Suikoden fan, where you like the 6-man parties, which means there's probably going to be some battles in the game. There's going to be like 20 enemies on the screen. It'd be crazy that all the characters have to like spread out and take them all on. So, yeah, I like the aesthetics of the game. It's pretty cool. However, I want to share this piece of news of Taylor that just happened recently. The actual creator of Star Ocean 5, one of the main heads of Star Ocean, came out and admitted that there was not something right with Star Ocean 4.
There's a lot right with 3 either, but I mean, I like how you kind of described it as being the ultimate 8 out of 10. I like the first game. Yeah. I love the second game, despite the terrible fucking endings. If there was a series that had just really bad endings, it's Star Ocean. Just point to it, because those endings, oh my Jesus. I don't care how many different ones they have. Majority of them suck. And when a majority of them suck, doesn't matter if you have 1,000 fucking endings. If 973 of them suck, yippee-ki-yay. I mean, ever since 2, like, I don't mind Blue Spirit, but it plays like a Tales of Fantasia. And 3, I don't care for. 4, I remember playing it, being excited for it. And you never beat 4, or did you?
I'm actually still trudging. That was one of the games I was playing the end of last year, and I'm kind of I just got the Android guy. I keep forgetting his name. Just got the Android guy.
Did you get the cat girl?
Not yet.
Okay. The thing that happens. Oh, there's something that happens, and you just like. It made sense that Claude was, Claude wasn't in charge of like a space, like a fleet or anything like that. He pretty much had a lot of people pissed at him because, quote unquote, Daddy was giving it to him, even though he was like, stop it, Dad, I'm gonna be my own kind of guy. Sorry, Grenixus, kind of thing. But this is where 4 completely shits the bed with it, and they have Edge Maverick, fucking, what is he, 19, 18, 19, maybe 20?
Yeah, around that age.
And he takes, he becomes a captain?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, right? And you're just like, no. And then the things that go on through the game, you're just like, no, stop this. This would be why he would be locked up in the brig right now. That shit insane. And oh my god, 4 is fucking horrible. Oh my god, like, I mean, like, to see it go from 2, which, it has its own issues, but at least it was enjoyable. 4, like, 3 was kind of enjoyable up until about 2/3 of the way through the game, and then it just really started to kind of peter out, and then the fucking twist, and you're just like, oh, stop. 4 was just kind of stupid with, like, oh, we're on this planet. Our bullets don't work for some reason because they have this thing about them. But you can totally beat the shit out of them with blunt objects. All right.
Yeah, these convenient gameplay plot holes. It's just...
Amy's able to hit him with bow and arrows, but you can't shoot at.
Yeah.
God damn it. Oh, the game.
Oh, man.
But I'm glad that they acknowledged, because what the hell is his name? Is it Gotanda?
I think it might be. Oh no, yeah. I'll have to double check because I'm kind of getting bad with names, like because there's so many people, and I've never been huge of Gotanda's work that I kind of associate like him with a name. Like if I think of Shenmue, I think of Yu Suzuki. If I think of Final Fantasy, I think of Hironobu Sakaguchi and all that. But I'm not really that familiar with Gotanda yet. Sort of like
Basic easy way to remember Gotanda is this badass who joined Namco Bandai. 17 years old. Types makes Fantasia, doesn't like that they're trying to change names and stuff, so he's like, fuck you guys. 2 others join him, make Tri-Ace, and then birth Star Ocean. I mean, if Gotanda's admitting that I had heard some fishy things about him, that he had kind of geared for, like, because he was getting into all like those kind of hentai games and shit like that, and that 4 was, kind of not really on his mind when that was coming around. Or at least the director. I don't know if it was Gotanda himself, but at least the director was more into like those ecchi games.
That explains some of the skimpy outfits for the characters. But I mean, I will play 4. I'll beat it eventually. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And now Now, before we want to get into it, like, I had new hope for the Square Enix president, but he said something that just really angered me. Like, he came out and he was getting everyone excited for this Final Fantasy Portal app, but then he basically had to reassure everyone, even though Square Enix has journeyed outside for our Western developers, please note that RPGs will always be our foundation and always be our number one priority for the future. And then they announced that Project Setsuna game, which is now they're made by Tokyo Toy Factory. But then they said, as you said just then, it's our number one priority, to always support RPGs. That's funny, because there was no fucking Dragon Quest games right there. Oh my god, what will it fucking take to get Dragon Quest 7 over here?
I thought you had kind of stemmed that tide there. I didn't realize you were so pissed off about this.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I thought this would be the year. I thought it'd be. It was ripe, and I'm like, you got Heroes, and they didn't show much of Heroes. It was in like a 5-second montage, by the way. Oh, I mean, and at the end before the stream, they had like so many of these, like before people waiting the stream, they had sort of like these little trivia bits. There was a crap ton of Dragon Quest ones. Like, oh my god, they're gonna announce something Dragon Quest. It's gonna be awesome. Nothing. Like, nothing. Like, we want to support RPG. Give me a break. Like, seriously, you have one of the most like, triple A.
He's so pissed off.
RPGs out there. And, like, 8's coming out. Like, I can understand they didn't announce 8, because 8's only just coming out for Japanese. I'll give them a break for 8. But, it's... I thought to myself that I'd be learning Japanese for playing Falcom games. But in reality, I think Falcom's got a brighter future getting games localized over here than fucking Dragon Quest. I think you're going to have to learn Japanese to play numbered, not offshoot games, fucking numbered Dragon Quest games. How ridiculous is that? And people saying, well, they don't sell it. No. Dragon Quest games sell if Square Enix puts the detail into advertising them. 8 got advertised, sold 5 million copies outside of Japan. Not that, that wasn't a Japanese figure. That was like Europe and America combined. Dragon Quest 9 did extraordinarily well as well. Didn't do as well as 8, but did a lot of well. That got marketed. And it's like, well, there's an Epian trilogy didn't do that well. That's because you didn't market the games.
No, they didn't.
No.
They did not.
It's like, well, 7 did.
And plus 6 sucks anyways. So. Oh, burn on 6.
It is a messy game. I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite of them.
But,
yeah.
Like, this... It befuddles me. Why would you not just... It's almost... I don't want to say it's a license to print money. You're going to make some money off of these games. They have cute slimes, goddammit. And that's all you need. You could just fucking... say, hey, there's going to be a bunch of cute different slimes. Play the game. It's like, all right, okay, kind of thing. I mean, come on, slimes are life. You don't.
People are like, why are you so angry? I mean, there's plenty of Dragon Quest games. The thing is okay. This is going to be like a total reveal in the future. If in my channel, I do my top 10 DS experiences. Number 1 is Dragon Quest. Like, all the Dragon Quest games combined are my favorite experiences on the Nintendo DS. Like especially playing 4 and 5. Justified me owning that system. It was so amazing. I love those games so much, and I wanted to continue that on the 3DS. And the fact that they're there, those games exist, but only in Japan, and I'm just like, it's just like I can understand a lot of series if they peter out and only stay Japanese only, but Dragon Quest, like. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, they did go away for 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of... It's just one of the... Plus, 7 and 8 have already come out in the States. So maybe they're thinking at it, well, we did re-release 4, 5, and 6, and that didn't do so well. So we're not going to do re-releases, despite them being... particularly with 7 being upgrade. Well, I don't know about 8, but 7 being an upgrade. that they're just going to be like, nope.
It doesn't help people in Europe and Australia though, because 7 never came out over here. So, it's frustrating. And well, they have re-released most of them. They've re-released as of this podcast, they've released 1 to 6 and 8 on the iOS. There's rumors saying that the new Dragon Quest game they're going to be localized is another iOS game, which just but
that's painful.
And I'm just like, what will it take to get 7? Like, I'm at this point, like a bloody localization fucking Kickstarter. Like, I'll pay for that. I'll greatly pay for that. But it's just like, I was actually hoping for 11, but I thought to myself that would actually kind of be sacrilegious if they announced Japan's kind of RPG child in a foreign land. So that will probably that'll be announced on home soil. And I'm just like, I think that there was honestly, I admit it's my own fault. I got overhyped thinking this will be this year. We've done like 2 years of campaign. This will be the year, and no mention, no nothing. And there was actually leaks and rumors that it was going to get mentioned at E3. Nah. No, like everything else.
I like how there was those rumors and the initial whisperings right before E3 about the remake for Final Fantasy VII, like it is every year. Finally does hit, and then you've got a remake for Dragon Quest VII, and you just need it localized. And I'm just like, I walked away from that. I was just so. I think it was 3 a.m. I was so angry. I just went straight to bed. I'm surprised you're angry about this, because I remember you talking about, you and I talking about this exact thing, like, beforehand, and you kind of being like, yeah, gotta keep even keel about it.
I know. That's what I mean.
Now you're like, motherfucking Square Enix!
I've fallen from grace, so. But no, and this is the thing I'm going to be talking about, the Final Fantasy VII remake. It's Square Enix's ultimate get out of jail free card with a lot of people, and that's the problem. Right. I'm bitching about this, like, Final Fantasy VII remake, like, fuck. I was like, because I'm gonna buy that. There's no way I'm not gonna buy the remake of Final Fantasy VII, And Star Ocean 5, I'm gonna buy because that's actually my favorite sort of series from Tri-Ace. It's the only playable game from Tri-Ace, in my opinion. but
that kind of like the only thing that gets to me about the Star Ocean 5 is that it's takes place before 3, when everything went to hell.
Maybe you can see like the creation of like maybe I don't know that like
maybe they are the 4D beings.
maybe you'll see these characters create the 4D world based on actual events, so it makes the actual events before canon, and it's just a parallel world or some bullshit like that.
See, that's just too much.
Yeah.
Too much finagling and pretzeling to fucking 3.
Yeah. I mean, people say, Greg, you're getting Heroes. Yes, I've played Heroes. It's amazing. It's fantastic. Actually, honestly, people listening, that's probably the only way we're going to get Dragon Quest games. We buy Heroes. That's the only way we're going to show them. Sadly. You want Dragon Quest? Buy Heroes. And that's so disingenuous, though. There's going to be a lot of people out there that want to play Heroes, but now there's probably going to be a lot of people that don't care for Warriors games or action RPGs. They're probably going to buy it so they can sort of ensure Dragon Quest future, and I think it's sad if that's the case, I'm buying it because I want to play it, but yeah.
Well, that and it's not, I mean, not to try to like dog it or anything, but it's not Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I mean, the full Dragon Quest experience, of course, is the numbered games, 8, 9, right. All those games. That's why I love the series. I don't love the series for all the spin-offs. The spin-offs are nice for little tidbits of fan service, I don't, but the real love is the numbered games. That's what I want, and the fact that the only game that I'm yet to play is 7. The only game. And as Taylor suggested, I guess I bite the bullet, buy a $150 converted power generator converter, and get the American copy of Dragon Warrior 7, because at this point, that seems to be the only way I'm going to play the fucking game. And
I wonder how much that would run you trying to get that copy of it now.
I have no idea. Like, it'll probably cost me a lot just to play that, and just can be easily fixed if they localize the game. I apparently wasn't the only one that was angry. Apparently they put up a Dragon Quest Facebook page that it was for Dragon Quest Heroes, but then they quickly changed to the last couple of days to Dragon Quest. And basically they had an image of saying, "Happy birthday, Dragon Quest." Well, didn't they regret that?
Oh God!
Boom, 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 boom. Dragon Quest 7, boom, boom, boom. Dragon Quest 7. Where the fuck's Dragon Quest 7? Boom, 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 boom. I went to the Dragon Quest Heroes official Square Enix blog. Boom, boom, boom. Where the fuck is Dragon Quest 7? Boom, 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 boom. So, yeah, I'm calm there. I had to get. I was building that angle bar. I haven't shouted all week. I've just wanted to shout that over the rooftops, and I won't be able to do that tonight because I've got another podcast recording tonight for E3, and I'm like, I have to get it out of my system now because I don't want to wake everyone up come nightfall. So that was the only reason that I walked away from it. However, I do actually want to end my E3 news with some fantastic news, and it makes me want to shed a tear of happiness. And you ready for it, good sir?
I'm ready.
Getting a Best of E3 award for Vita game and one of Best RPG award for E3 is Trails of Cold Steel.
Huh.
Yes! I was like, yes! Finally! You know?
Some recognition.
Some fucking I know it's not your favorite of the Kiseki saga, but at least it's got some recognition in the. It's like, that's awesome, because it's kind of sad that the Sony conference actually didn't really show the Vita that much. It just showed Tearaway. It didn't show any footage of any of the games Xseed's going to be bringing out. I feel so bad for Xseed. They're out there depending on the news sites to do their advertising for them. So I was just like, oh man. But I just noticed that there's a lot of buzz for Cold Steel. Like Operation Rainfall posted all the Xseed games that they announced recently. And Trails of Cold Steel is the most watched video of all of them. So I was like, oh yes. Like I have a good feeling, but I don't want to hype myself up too much, you know. And we'll see what happens. But I like the fact that they're probably going to bank on this. By the way, it's going to be like Trails of Cold Steel E3 award, Best of E3 award, you know?
Oh yeah, they'll milk that for what they can.
Which, but, fair enough. Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, it's a business trying to make money. I don't fault them for that, but I am curious to see how that game is received by people, because I still have this gnawing, I don't want to say fear or worry, because I'm not the biggest fan of Sen and Sen 2, is that people are going to be like, oh, you know, this is nothing but like just a generic wannabe pseudo Persona / just anime game. It's funny because I saw a few people's comments look Trails of Cold Steel, and it made me happy. And you know what one person said? I'm one of the biggest Suikoden fans on the planet, and this is the game that's only going to fulfill my needs. And I'm like, that's cool, because I do get that Suikoden vibe from playing some of the Trails games in terms of like the storytelling and how the world works and everything. So I like the fact that kind of the Suikoden fan base has adopted the Trails series, you know? They got no Suikoden 6 coming in the works, so you gotta find a new baby to pamper. Yeah,
so I reckon that's really cool. Aside from that, RPG Gamer actually got a video from Xseed where it actually showed the first sort of footage of the localization. It's the prelude chapter, and it was there was a few moments that was translated.
Yeah.
It was the guns moment. And your rain screen, no! Stop it! And I saw that. I was like, oh, cool. And you got to see that in English. And I was like, yeah. I was only playing this in Japanese only a few months ago. So I was like, right on. It's just like, it's coming together. Like, they have this part of it translated, and they're just doing the dubbing for the game right now. So it's like, things are happening, and it's gonna be coming out. So what was my greatest fear? A lot of games have release dates, like, because Metal Gear is September, Zesteria is October, Xenoblade Chronicles, I forgot to mention this in the Nintendo thing, Xenoblade Chronicles X is going to be coming out December for the rest of the world. So it's a Christmas RPG we've all been waiting for. And Cold Steel is in between, it's going to be October or November. This is my greatest fear. Atlas is paramount that Persona 5 is going to be coming at the end of the year. I don't want it to come out during the same month as Trails of Cold Steel. I'm kind of really scared. I'm hoping it's a Christmas game. It's a December game. Or a late November game, and Trails of Cold Steel is early November. But we'll see what happens. But like I said, who knows when it's going to be coming out. But I hope it does really well. I think it might. I've got a really good feeling about it, but it is on a system that's not really that supported. But I do say that everyone who owns a Vita, I reckon, will probably go out and get Trails of Cold Steel. No news about SC yet. No new news. I reckon it's going to be one of those, like Brandish is just going to come out of nowhere, unexpectedly. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm hoping it's before Cold Steel. But yeah. That's it. I know we didn't mention all news. I totally skipped over Fallout 4, but you kind of heard our thoughts last week. I do want to change my opinion, saying that I actually did watch, like, I think an hour video of it that they had at the conference. I watched it with my dad because he's a big Fallout fan. My dad's excited. I'm actually interested for the first time in a Fallout game. So after what I saw, so I actually might play it. No, I'm probably not. I'm not going to buy it because. Just to give you something that happened recently, I just recently sold my PS4 to my dad. I'm going to get another one. I'm going to be getting another one that has an awesome Diamond Dogs logo on it. Come September. Yeah, I'm getting the limited edition one. And I actually got a Diamond Dogs shirt recently as well.
How'd you snag that?
In my local EB Games when I got Lucina and Robin, they had a Diamond Dog shirt, so it's like, yeah, I want that too. It was on sale as well.
Nice.
Diamond Dogs, our new home. Actually, do you know what? Totally forgot about that as well. And this will be my final thing I talk about for the E3 episode. New trailer came out for Metal Gear Solid 5. Pretty awesome. Now,
I didn't want to watch it because
that's what I wanted to say.
I'm trying to not watch any of it.
Here's the red pill. Here's the blue pill. You want me to talk about it? You don't want me to talk about it? I'm cool either way.
Well, the one thing that I did hear was that it showed Liquid, which I mean we already figured out that was.
Yeah. Did they tell you how Liquid?
No.
Okay, because there's more to it than just Liquid at the very end of the trailer, because he says something very familiar to anyone who's a fan of Metal Gear Solid we knew it was coming, but he confirmed it. He fucking confirmed it. And I'm not going to say it because it was pretty cool. We all know it was coming.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Just because, well, like, what of the trailer, did they just show, like... The scenes, or was it like gameplay, or what did they?
Buried the notion. Okay, in Donna Burke's Sins of the Father, there's a part of the song that says "words that kill." That's actually going to become one of the big themes of the game because everyone's talking about the power of words in the trailer, about how words have the power to kill, to move nations, and all that. And that was pretty much what they were saying throughout the entire trailer. So that's going to be probably the main theme of the game: words that kill. You know. So,
did they finally have the full version of that damn song?
No, I think the music for this trailer wasn't really that grandeur, but compared to everything else they've done. So,
compared to Nuclear,
and all that, and Not Your Kind of People, and all that.
Yeah.
So I was like, it was a good trailer. It showed everything. I think it showed. Him in his final battle suit. That's it looks like, if it didn't show a panning down, but if it's a trench coat, it's confirmed what Big Boss's trench coat is. You know, when he becomes like leader of Foxhound and all that. So I was just like, oh man, it's almost here, the finale. That it's like I'm almost taste it, and it's gonna be awesome.
Is it early September?
Yeah,
when's
first week of September.
So
I think it's September the 1st actually. So yeah,
got a little over 2 months.
You're gonna be playing it on PS3, right? So
yeah, I guess it kind of depends on if I can afford to, but hopefully.
So I'm looking forward to it. I'll be celebrating that in style, and that'll be my big send-off to Metal Gear. But I know we could talk about a lot of things. I could talk about the level 5 stuff, but I'm not going to. I'm probably going to say...
And I know I could have looked up a bunch of stuff, but as you could probably have heard for this, I seem to be one hell of a negative Nancy.
No, I mean, seriously, you've been pretty reserved compared to my Dragon Quest blowout. Just disgruntled fan here. Just
Well, but I mean, just in general, I got a lot of. I guess it's because it is just who I am. Is that, yeah, you can announce this stuff, but it doesn't do anything for me until I have the game. I grew up not reading any of the gaming news stuff and everything. I just would get a game, and then it would be in front of me, and then I would play it, and I'd be like, I like it, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting to kind of look into it a little bit, but I'm not. I guess just because I didn't grow up getting crazy for news, so and I'm not saying you've gone crazy for news, but just, having it there, I'm just kind of like, okay.
And the good thing is because I understand where Taylor's coming from, because that's what I used to be like. Because I used to just go in the video store, there'd be games that I wouldn't know about, and take a chance on them, and because I didn't have to pay the full price, I could. And the fact that was kind of our allowance that my dad saved for me. It's like, he didn't give us money, he just knew we wanted games at the end of the week, so he'd wait till the end of the week. So we did that. So I understood that, and it wasn't until like the advent of like 2000s and all that when I finally got access to the internet through schools and libraries and all that I did get the information, and then it sort of just like petered out entirely when I just had access to sites like RPG Fan and all that, and then more reliable news sites kept popping up, and then I gradually went over to the dark side basically. But I totally understand that element of surprise with not knowing anything, and I wish I could return to the way things are, but I know that I'm too, that the whole point of like,
you're too hooked to the machine, Greg.
Yeah, I am too hooked to the machine, but there is some sort of excitement. But like there is games like Time and Eternity that have burnt me out. Like expecting too much from just what I saw from a trailer, getting the actual game being far from what I saw in the trailer. So you have to be careful. You really do. So. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's not to say that, it's not like I'm doing it properly or anything. It's just how I've kind of grew up as a kid.
There is no properly. It's just like I said, we're in a hobby. What you make of it. You play games any way you want to. You look forward to games any way you want to. There is no prerequisites for being a gamer. You just like video games. So
the end.
The end. And for that in mind, I think we'll end this off. Is there anything else you want to bring up? It doesn't have to be E3 related.
Anything I want? Nothing E3. If there's nothing E3 related, I guess part of it, and you might not have even have caught wind of it or anything, but I had been finally putting up like first edits of a story that I'm working on.
Yeah, I saw the links on Facebook.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why I haven't really been focused too heavily, because I mean, as you were just saying, there are 40-minute demo video or conferences, hour-long things and stuff. It's just, when it comes to writing, it takes a lot of time to kind of get into it and type out that stuff. That, as well as just kind of keeping things chugging on the game I'm working on, so it's woo. So I think that's part of why, even though it's only a week away, if isn't really pinging on my radar. Truth be told, I have been on the biggest fucking Mega Man Blue Bomber bonanza in the last week and a half. I have no idea why, but I've just been like, oh, I've got all the old 1 through 6 NES games on my Wii still. I'm just gonna play. Well, not 6, but 1 through 5. So I'm just gonna play them. And I have 9 and 10. So I beat 1, beat 2. I beat 1 and 2 earlier today. I was like, oh fuck it, I'll just play 1 and 2 and just beat them. And then 3, 4. I had to actually download 5 because I didn't have it, so now I got it. And then I beat 10. I don't know if I want to go back to playing. I mean, I beat him before, but it's just 9. I'm not a big fan of 9, but for whatever stupid reason, I've just been like, oh my god, Mega Man, yeah, boom, 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 Blue Bomber. Just for whatever reason, I can just kind of jump back and just play those games forever. And I know that doesn't quite seem like me, Like it's one of those games if you wouldn't necessarily think that I'm like really I love these games. I mean, I sometimes talk about them, but I'm not nearly as vocal as I wish I could be about it. Like Robman, for example. Just the old NES Blue Bomber games. Those 6 games, more some than others, because there's a few of them in that 6 that aren't very good. Cough cough 6, cough cough. The original one's kind of shaky. But I love 3 and 4. I could seriously be locked in a building, just fed food, and be told you can only play these 2 games for the rest of your life, and be like, okay, yeah, kind of thing. So, but yeah, that's really all that's been going on.
Yeah, I basically, my promise to beat Shenmue 2 either in 2015, 2016, I popped my disc in, I think, a couple of days afterwards, and yeah, not working for me, sadly, so I might return back to Moonlight Wish, which I'm sort of trudging along as well, so that's pretty much all.
Yeah, I had Cage Song, and it's still in the PSP in idle mode waiting for me diligently. But like I wasn't I talking to you about one of the port towns, because I just beat the first one. Yeah. So one of the port towns in the game in the English translation is called Fargot, Fargot. Now in the Japanese one is like Fagotto. Yeah, Fagotto. And it basically comes out to faggot. Not the greatest idea Falcom had when naming their towns.
No.
But I have just got through to that, so I think it's like the prequel chapter, like the not chapter 1, but prologue kind of chapter. So I'm now hitting chapter 1, and I'm waiting diligently. And truth be told, I kind of was starting to play Oath of Felghana on hard when earlier in the week. I was like, oh, let's do that. And that's probably because the whole playing Mega Man thing.
Nice. That fucking 4-legged tank in Valentine Castle Sewers bullshit. Like, Frank, no, I want to hit you. No, I want to hit you.
Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, especially it's hard mode. But speaking of which, did you or the farm during the Steam sale? There was actually a Falcom Day where they actually.
Oh, nice.
Boom. Apparently, recently, I think it might be today. Trails on Sky's half price. So. Very cool. But strangely enough, there's only one game that did not budge off the price.
Which was?
Guramin. Like, $10, not budging. That's alright for me, because it's my least favorite Falcom game. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't like it as much as the others, so.
Yeah, it's not as well loved.
So.
And for good reason.
It's kind of.
I don't know. I love Oath. Oath was probably either that or Celceta. Probably not Celceta. Probably I would have to either like Oath, Origin, and Celceta. Those are like my 3 favorite Ys games, I would say. And Oath, just the music, the speed of it. It's such a great step up from what they had initially started with
Wanderers.
Well, not only just with Wonder, but like that blend of Wonders as well as Napishtim.
Yeah.
And just tweaking it, and it's oh my god.
I
It's so good.
You know me, I love 1 and 2. I love the story of 1 and 2 so much, and I dig like the TurboGrafx games. I do like Society. I do like 7 for them until the ending. I really love 7. I'm with you with Oath and Felghana. I've always said to everyone, maybe you should all play Oath and Felghana first, because it's got it's the best gameplay of that style. A really good tale in the scope it's told. It's really told well. And the soundtrack's amazing, the boss battles are amazing, it just hits all the notes, and it's definitely one of my favorites, and for a lot of people it's their favorite Ys game, and for good reason, because it's the best developed out of the lot. There's nothing wrong with the game.
It's pretty straightforward. There isn't a lot of deviation or tricks up its sleeves. There's a couple things that you're like, oh wow, okay, but it's a fairly standard story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's not. The story isn't meant to be some sort of, super off the wheels, like, oh my god, this is mind implosions, kind of thing. It's just basically, you're an adventurer, you have gone to the wrong side of town, and there's assholes in that town. Well, not in that town, but at least the castle that's neighboring that town.
Yeah, Palestine Castle, and it was good. It was a good origin story for Dogi, and tying all that up. And I think, like I said, East has always been a character-heavy series where the characters outshine the narrative and the plot. But and of course, the best games go hand in hand with everything, but I think the plots for most of the games is awesome. Like, I'd have to replay 7 because 7, it seems to have this grand plan in mind and it's good enough, but they do throw a lot at you. But 1 and 2 for me is the best. I just love basically the.
You're not gonna go with 4?
I like the mythos of East itself, everything the mystery surrounding it, and then you actually finally go to the Kingdom of East and the whole sort of like the legacies of the 6 priests and everything. I love that. I really do love that part of the East story, and that's why I like Origin. I like how they told the story from 700 years ago. I really dig Origin.
Yeah, Origin's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, the music of it, the multifaceted play, because you have two characters that play very similar, but then you have like a fucking 3D shooter. With one of them.
You know what the surprising thing is, good sir? We seem to be the only people that's played all the characters. I've met a lot of people. They'll play as Unica. They'll play as Hugo. Right. They put the game down, and I'm like,
what? What are you missing? The third part, the best part? Oh my god!
Yes.
The claw. Come on, the claw.
No one's playing the claw, and I'm just like. Oh, it's just like I just don't know. It's like, dude, it's like, I don't want to say this, but the final battle is different. It's like, and they'll go, huh? No, you fight someone differently. And trust me when I say this, fan of East 2, yeah, you're gonna get a kick out of it. Like, seriously, when I found that amazing. Out, my jaw dropped like 2 floors down. I was just like, oh my god.
And you're like, holy shit, oh my god. And it's just such a, like, I mean, leading up to it with, like, the cinematic thing, some people get kind of pissy about because they're like, well, if you could do this, why couldn't you do this in the battle, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a story, okay? And it's supposed to portray something. Maybe it's a bit ham-fisted for some people, but it works. Damn it. Anywho, that final fucking fight is just awesome.
Yeah, and it was the first,
damn it.
I think it's the first piece of Falcon music that actually used a chorus, which is pretty awesome, and it's a remake of an older track that I love just as much. So it's just like, oh, I'm getting another version.
I don't know. That original version
is pretty
pretty damn good.
For the TurboGraphics, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty damn good. Like, it doesn't have like a guitar solo.
Yes, it has a guitar wailing. It's just like,
yeah.
Speaking of remade music, I actually recently listened to the Evolution soundtrack, and Silver Will is actually pretty fucking awesome in the Evolution version, actually. Because I listened to Silver Will during the track, it's like, oh, is that what they're going to use for the battle thing? Nope. It's got another version of Silver Will you never heard before. Jesus, I think there's nearly 15 versions of that song. Like,
there's a ton of different versions of that song, and you and I both talked about it, and I know that you, like, for you, that's a really amazing song.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good, but I like a lot more other ones. It's the one that got me, like, interested in the series, but as I've kind of gone along, there's others that really just kind of pique my ears a bit more than
I actually, not to spoil anything, but do you want to know the one track that got heavily overhauled that I struggled to see the similarities at first? The first Final Battle theme, Ancient Makes, had a tremendous overhaul. And someone actually came out of the walls like, holy shit, this feels like a final boss theme.
Yeah, like, the Ancient Makes is a bit of it's a different, like, the final dungeon theme is fantastic.
Actually.
And then you get it, and you're just like, this is It's not bad. I mean, it's probably my least favorite out of the series. I've grown to really like SC's. The SC's final battle was always kind of like, but the thirds. Oh my god, the thirds. Like this pisses me off because nobody will. Oh, it's just a useless Gaiden game. No,
it's not. I love Arrival Existence from Zero. That's a final battlefield.
That riff right at the beginning with the guitar.
And then we're leading up to the Azure Aberrator, which is like, holy shit, this is probably the most expensive song that Falcom's ever made.
I remember, the first time hearing it, because when I was in Japan, I could get the soundtracks before I'd finished the games, and I would like purposely try not to fucking listen to music that I hadn't heard yet, which is actually the same thing I'm doing with Cage Song. Is I'm like, I have it liked on YouTube. I have the whole soundtrack liked, but I'm like, I can't listen to this until I beat the game because there's so, because it's just, I don't know, because you hear the music, and once you hear the music, the moment you hear it and the type of mood you're in, the type of, has some sort of effect on how when you get to it in the game. And so I'm trying to like keep it as pristine and as pure as possible. Yeah,
I understand that. Like, I listened to most of it. Actually, to be perfectly honest, I haven't listened to all of the. I've listened to some of the soundtrack. Like, I actually have forgotten mostly all of Sen 2 soundtrack. But as for Evolution, I've listened to half of it. It's funny you mentioned the Final Dungeon theme because I actually haven't listened to that yet. Evolution version. So that should be interesting. I've actually
because I'll be honest, I have no desire to play FC Evolution. I don't.
I was gonna buy it, but now that I've sold my PS4, now my priority is getting another one. So that's going to take precedence over getting Evolution. And by the time I get my PS4, guess what will be coming out? It'll be Tokyo Xanadu. I know you were saying I was like, wait.
I was hoping, but you were referencing Metal Gear, not Tokyo Xanadu.
I said as well as Metal Gear, so
okay.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. There's going to be so much happening, but it's awesome to end. Every time we always seem to end with Falcom talking. It's always awesome because that's exactly.
I know we've completely just fucking derailed this. We're like, E3, and then we're like, oh my god, Falcom.
Our listeners have an insight to what we usually just chat about off the air. That's how we usually are. So
right. If anybody wants to know, this is exactly what we're doing. Anyways, we're just, oh my god, Falcom. Oh my god, Falcom.
So, speaking of which, if come July, because July's upon us, and that's always the month they always release their trailer. So the Tokyo Xanadu trailer is imminent, and hopefully at the end of the trailer it'll be like, do you know if the name Adult Christian? We're also gonna do an EC preview.
You're waiting for that. You're like, just the gun is already, cocked and ready.
Yeah.
Give us 8. I mean. Well, 8 is supposed to take place before 6, wasn't that the...
Yes.
So that's...
After 5, and then after 6, and I always think about it, the normal game I constantly think about, because it's like, well, characters will return. I'm like, I wonder if Dallas didn't die in East 2. He got off the Kingdom of East, and he found a way.
Well, he just needs to fucking trounce Rome at this point. Just, like, that's the game that I'm waiting for. I am waiting for Adol to venture into the heart of the beast.
Yes,
and then
me too.
Just tell them all, he can be it's not Nero that burned Rome down, it was Adol that burned it down. Yes. That would be fucking fantastic.
Well, ever since Ilseta, it gives a great insight, because not everyone in the Rom Empire is against him, because he's helped out I know it's kind of a little bit of spoilers. You may want to tune out if you haven't played Zelda yet. Tune out now. Since meeting Griselda, it's like, well, now he has this olive branch in the Roman Empire. But then again, Griselda, it seems from what you read of her, she's kind of slightly an outcast and like the main crux of the royal family. From what everything she says, that's why she's high, she's of the royal bloodline, but just to be shoved off to this foreign land of Zelda sort of like to be in charge of everything. I'm like, well, when, by the time E7 happens, a lot has happened. She's probably gone back to Rome, maybe, so who knows? But I'm just seeing this epic sort of Colosseum moment, just like in E7, because I love that part in E7. And I'm just
that was a pretty badass part, because that Crossing Rage is a fucking amazing song.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I can foresee, like, there's Adol, there's Dogi, and most likely in this version of the game, there's going to be Geist as well. And because I don't think what Geist has done has pleased anyone in the Roman Empire, So I don't know what his affiliation is, honestly, because it's to be believed he was with the Dark.
His affiliation is himself, because he's such a bam.
Well, obviously, he was very privy to what Ernst was doing, and pretty much the Celceta confirmed that Ernst was a part of the Dark Clan, which is awesome, So it'd be interesting to see if there's any more. Like, if there's a member of the Dark Clan that's going to the seabed in Issei and wants to uncover, like, the history of the ancients, like, there's another Eldine artifact that's in the seabed, so...
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and it kind of makes you wonder if it's like the somebody who what's the race that they are? Is there ever a name for them?
I think it's just referred to the Eldine civilization and the winged ones of the yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. If something like that one of them's just running Rome.
Yeah,
like
we've said this before. Yeah, one of them is just the winged one who's just sitting there and for the longest time and no one knows it. That'd be crazy. But we could do a whole entire podcast on this, like the fury of the world of Ys, and just go all aboard the hype train and just I don't know.
Choo choo, motherfuckers.
Choo choo, motherfuckers.
Choo
choo. With that in mind, I hope that you've had a great E3. Tell us the one piece of news you're excited for, and tell me what was the one thing you're disappointed about. And if it's Dragon Quest VII, you got a bro fist from me. So one day, hopefully. If it's the bloody
one day more.
One day more. And
I'm sorry.
No, don't be. It's also to bring up Les Mis whenever. So with that in mind, I hope you have a good week, and stay tuned for the next episode of Saturday Mornings with Trusler and Mac.
Woo! Thanks for listening, guys.
Woo! Later.
I gotta turn it off. Off.